Palestine. This is what you get for threatening the Jewish people. Palestine. All of the Holy Land belongs to the Jews. It's your time to leave. Palestine. This is what you get for not becoming Noahites.
You were mocking the chosen people, but now you're getting hit. American missiles have your entire skyline lit. And you cry victim and say you didn't start this, but the whole world knows denying sovereignty to the Jews is retarded. Now you feel terror like the Jews on American college campuses did. How does it feel to have bombs dropped on 2-year-old Hamas supporters? You could have avoided all this if you wanted to, but by fleeing to Egypt or becoming a Noahide, all of Israel belongs to the Jews.
Palestine. This is what you get for all your evil deeds. This is what you get for threatening the Jewish people. Palestine. All of the Holy Land belongs to the Jews. It's your time to leave. Palestine. This is what you get for not obeying the Torah.
You were mocking the chosen people, but now you're getting hit. American missiles have your entire skyline lit. And you cry victim and say you didn't start this, but the whole world knows denying sovereignty to the Jews is retarded. Now you feel terror like the Jews on American college campuses did. How does it feel to have bombs dropped on 2-year-old Hamas supporters? You could have avoided all this if you wanted to, but by fleeing to Egypt or becoming a Noahide, all of Israel belongs to the Jews.
Palestine. This is what you get for all your evil deeds. This is what you get for threatening the Jewish people. Palestine. All of the Holy Land belongs to the Jews. It's your time to leave.
Shout out to Evan Williams. He's my brother in white Christ. Mashiach first. Woo. Hey, hey, hey. Yeshua HaMashiach. White rabbi to the Goyim dogs. Yeshua HaMashiach. 12 disciples moving weight, flipping drugs. Hey. Amethyst color Eucharist. Go hair smell like frankincense. Myrrh hashish made by temple priests. I'm the great white beast of the Middle East. In the lab with mid-rash until it was gas. Used the Septuagint, fuck the facts. Pretended it was wrote in the past, but now the story too loose. Yeshua HaMashiach. White rabbi to the Goyim dogs. Yeshua HaMashiach. 12 disciples moving weight, flipping drugs. Peter, Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John never walked the path I was on. The path to the Father is through His Son, but they didn't write until I was done. I was on the cross to be the boss. Y'all looking like sheep, Goyim lost. I'm the word manifest by men in cloth, using passion to remember who got the sauce. Yeshua HaMashiach. White rabbi to the Goyim dogs. Yeshua HaMashiach. 12 disciples moving weight, flipping drugs. Don't believe the hype, I was white. Yeshua is a European name. My eyes are blue, and I'm 7'2", and I definitely was not a Jew. Yeshua HaMashiach. White rabbi to the Goyim dogs. Yeshua HaMashiach. 12 disciples moving weight, flipping drugs. Yeshua HaMashiach. White rabbi to the Goyim dogs. Yeshua HaMashiach. 12 disciples moving weight, flipping drugs.
Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Green here with No More News, getting us going, coming in hot with Yeshua HaMashiach by Macrometer and Bomb Bomb Palestine, the new big hit, way better than Bomb Bomb Tel Aviv that Lucas Gage made by our very own top Yahweh Zog slave, Evan Williams. Amalek is here. What's up, Amalek?
Yo, what's up, dude? Ready to react to some stupid stuff, some eye-rolling stuff today. Some very dumb people saying some very dumb things.
I don't know what you're talking about. All of this is based in Red Pill. What are you, a Jew or something? Not talking about the demons?
Yeah,
and
pretty
all
much.
this other stuff?
Yeah, dude. Well, here we are. This is the people want to bitch and cry about us, and then they this is the other side. So this is what they have to put up with. This is what they're defending.
There's no such thing as low IQ anti-Semitism, and we're just asking questions, Amalek. Okay, you believe the Fed slop official story? Come on, what do you? Oh, where are you on the Oliver Tree question? That's what I need to know first and foremost.
Yeah, definitely. You're right about the Oliver Tree question, and I don't understand why people like Jake Shields and Steve Peters and all these guys, they're like being quiet about it, which that makes me think that it's probably true. You know what I mean? Like it's obviously true if they don't talk about it. You know what I mean?
That's good. I'm happy to hear that you're tree pilled. And
yeah.
I don't know why Candace Owens isn't talking about Oliver Tree was obviously clearly. I mean, I don't know this, but he was clearly a ritual murderer to Baal for trying to expose the Illuminati and the secret bases on Antarctica.
Yeah,
Owen Benjamin hasn't said anything either.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. The silence is deafening.
He was
All
going to
these
blow
big
the whistle on
influencers.
Agartha. Like, what is Brazil near? Brazil is near Argentina. Where is Argentina? Near the Agartha entrance portal. Like, this is obviously this has something to do with it, guys. So,
All
I don't
these
know. It's
newbies,
weird.
all these after October 7th think they're big shots with Conspiracy 101 Charlie Kirk stuff. But where are they on the Oliver Tree question?
Yeah, Israel
gatekeeping.
obviously killed him and the Baal worshippers.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, I did a late night stream last night. You should check it out. All of the Oliver Tree conspiracy. It's serious stuff. He's R.I.P. to the GOAT, to the cultural icon. Gone too soon. But we're going to start today with Tucker, with this Christian guy, this average Christian coper that we've seen, same copes we've seen a million times pretty much. Coping about Jesus, kvetching about Jews killing Jesus, all the usual Christian controlled op slop talking points. Let's dig into it. Thank you, See Through It All, for clipping these up.
People
too.
ask the question sometimes, like, who killed Jesus? And it's a big debate online. Every couple weeks, a new fight breaks out on it.
It's all that ever matters, Amalek. I complain about this all the time. It's like fighting over who killed Jesus and what Jesus is that not like the number one grievance that we see people kvetching about online?
And it's just so dumb. Like, just read your lore. This is so stupid. This is like this would be like if you're like an X-Men fan and you're like upset that like X-Men were created or something. The entire point of your lore is that they were supposed to reject him, and then onto the world of the Gentiles, he will go. You know, the message will spread, the Torah will spread. That's like the whole thing. Paul says that it was something that God knew before time even began. That's before Adam and Eve. He knew that all this would happen and that the Jews would reject him, and that basically like that's like the lens that the Christians even see the Torah in, right? That God is mad at his own people and he's cursing them, and they're wandering around the wilderness when they don't behave the way he wants, things like that, right? That is basically the same. That's the exact story that Christians see into the story itself. So the whole thing is so stupid to cry about.
But this guy's going to clear it up and settle the score once and for all, I'm sure. What is he going to say?
People ask the question sometimes, like, who killed Jesus? And it's a big debate online. Every couple weeks, a new fight breaks out on X, where
Only because these guys want to bring it up every issue. They want to bring it up every time. That's their most important issue.
dispensationalists and covenant theologians are fighting about who killed Jesus. And of course, there's an obvious answer, right? Like, the Jews killed Jesus. We know that because at least 8 times in Scripture, the Scripture explicitly says that. The first sermon ever preached was the apostle Peter that started by saying, "Men of Israel." And a few lines later, he says, "This Jesus Christ, whom ye crucified." So the Pharisees plotted to kill Jesus. If you remember in John chapter 4, Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. They see it. They recognize that he's the Messiah. The Sanhedrin, which is the ruling council, comes together and they immediately plot to kill Jesus. Like they knew.
And Lazarus later.
Well, it was an ancient cover-up operation, basically.
They're going to kill the guy again.
Right. So, and Jesus looks to the Pharisees and he says, "You're plotting to kill me. This is what you're trying to do."
Sure. Does anybody dispute that though? I don't think anybody's disputing that. What they'll do is they'll say, well, it was actually the Romans that did it too. The Romans did it also. Or Jesus laid down his own life. Or it was God's plan, or any of those things. Yeah, not exactly.
People ask the question.
I wish we could like force this guy to read Romans 9. Like, sit down and read Romans 9 through 15 right in front of me right now. Like, that's how I feel. Like that would be the only way to solve this problem. Read it out loud to me. Prove to me that you read and understand what you're reading, please, because it's so frustrating. Because these guys clearly have not read it.
Well, we can read it. Look, here's Acts 2, where Peter says they crucified Jesus. This Jesus delivered up according to the definite plan and foreknowledge of God, you crucified and killed by the hands of lawless men. Definite plan and foreknowledge of God.
Yeah, so before Adam and Eve, before the sin of the garden and all these things, before all that happened, God already knew that this was going to happen. Okay, so complaining about it and actually leading with that, like, you killed our God, you killed God that was meant for you, you killed Messiah that was meant for you. Like, anything that's in that ballpark is really stupid. It's dumb. Because it's the whole thing that's happening right now is like a political situation with like real people that have real political power, have real influence in the real world, patronage networks, things like that. That's what's really going on. So when you take it over to this supernatural, you killed God thing, it turns off all of the smart people that could help us take care of, organize against this, that we're talking, the things that we talk about.
Yeah, no, instead they're praying to Jesus that Jesus will come and save them.
We should keep covering this guy, but I just posted to you some screenshots of some articles about this guy and his background and things like that we should go over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some good stuff.
I've never seen him before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've seen him before.
This guy's exposing him. That's funny. Drug addict?
Of course.
Crashing and burning? Okay. Yeah, I've never seen it before, but it's just
we'll
the same exact copes we hear every single time. Now we're going to do Schofield.
Oh, yeah.
We cannot allow Christian Bible believers to lead the opposition against the Jews. You end up with nothing but copes.
Well, dude, Webben was there with this thing. So, Webben isn't on here, but we're one of these days soon, we're going to be reacting to Tucker Carlson having Webben on, dude. It's going to be Cole.
Oh, he was there. Yeah, he's in the photograph together with him.
Yeah, they're all part of this.
I thought he did do something with him already.
Oh, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm forgetting.
Then we have Schofield that hits the scene in 1907, and he's a bit of a scoundrel. Like, I don't want to bash a dead person, but he was not what you would call a shining example of what a Christian should be. He abandoned his family.
Is Tucker? I love how they
Schofield
just immediately try to
I love that.
Yeah, like every other Christian is perfect. Every other Christian that does theology.
Well, wait till we go over this guy's history, dude. Oh my God, this is so funny, dude. Calling anybody else a scoundrel and he's got the background he has is very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And Schofield acting like this happened in 1907 is so stupid, dude. There's stuff going back to. I mean, we've talked about it 1,000 times. So we don't have to do
How many guests can he have on kvetching about Schofield Bible, by the way, too? Everyone acting like they're dropping some new deep lore or something.
They're all high on Rumble, Rumble memes or Rumble videos and like memes. You know what I mean? Like on social media. It's all over Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, like it's everywhere.
Yeah, we have a Schofield meme.
Example. He's basically
we know that he abandoned his family.
Yeah, his wife and kids.
Gee.
Yeah. So he shows up in New York. From New York, he goes to the UK. He winds up at Oxford, which is the hotbed of political Zionism. They print and publish a Bible. It
The other thing too is like he didn't invent this totally new thing by himself. There was already like a branch of Christians that were reading the Bible and coming up with these type of things.
We call it Scofield's.
To pinpoint one dude and say, oh, he was a drunk, he had this family issue, to like try to undermine the whole idea because of that, it was bigger than him. Or they'll lie and say the Rothschilds had him write it or something.
Bible.
I was just
It's
gonna
not
say that. I
Scofield's
wonder if he's
Bible.
gonna do the thing where they say that the Rothschilds paid for it.
Yeah.
It never was Scofield's Bible. He never owned the Bible. It's Oxford's Bible. He was the theologian, allegedly, whose notes in the margins of the Bible propagated the theology of John Nelson Darby. And that took off like, wildfire in the United States. And it's because in low church evangelicalism, most clergy at the time, and even to this day, are not classically trained in seminary. Back then, especially before the age of the internet and with the cost of publishing, the typical pastor in a Baptist or Congregationalist congregation would own a Bible, and that would be about it. They didn't go home to prepare their sermon with a collection of commentaries or a Bible concordance or a lexicon. All they had was a Bible. But if they could get their hands on the Scofield's edition, they would have all of the study notes that they could read and learn and educate themselves. And, they were smart enough to know that the margins is not the same as inspired writ, but that became the de facto home education for a lot of clergy. Within a single generation, among low church evangelical Protestantism, dispensationalism became the majority view because it's a nice, handy resource that you read right there in the pages of the Bible. And a lot of uneducated Christians during the era were actually not smart enough, or educated enough, I should say, to discern the difference between the inspired writ that.
No, you got it right the first time. They're not smart enough. They're just like, oh, the footnote, too powerful. This one-shotted by this one footnote down in the margins, just completely wrecked 2,000 years of God's true church. Could not overcome the totally heretical footnote. I can't handle the copes. Like, we're crying over a fucking footnote when the whole thing's fake and Jewish. Kills me. And this is all we ever hear. This is the best we get at opposing Judaism is Schofield. Oh, what am I doing, dude? Do you feel my cortisol? 85.
I'm just getting ready for the Jake Shields. I'm not even gonna cortisol spike during this one. I'm just getting ready for the Jake Shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was given.
I'm telling you. I love it.
By God the Holy Spirit, written through the hands of men, inspired by God the Holy Ghost, and the marginal notes in which this effectively schismatic cult in Ireland and then England has their theology on the side of the pages. And so they would look at that, not see the difference, and all of a sudden,
pause.
well, if you fast,
it is not, sorry. It is not the theology, okay? The connection between the Jewish people and the Old Testament, them having that link and understanding that they're the same people, and the same people in the New Testament, that goes back since the very beginning. There's never like a point where Europeans are like, oh my God, these are the Jewish people that are, they're like a totally separate thing. No. They've always understood them as the Israel or as the Jewish people of the Old Testament. The same people that were in Europe in diaspora, the Ashkenazi and the Sephardic Jews, all of that has always been part of it. It's not like they came up with this theology out of nowhere and pulled it in and then put it in this and then put it in their cliff notes and put it in their margins and this is the first time this ever happened was in 1907, and then people got the idea that Jewish people were somehow related to the nation of the Jews today, or what then later became Israel. That's ridiculous. That's totally ridiculous. Everybody has always had this understanding or this assumption.
Yeah. Notice how, too, always, they don't actually argue against the theology. They don't show you, look, this is what Scofield said, because he actually just cites a couple other Old Testament verses, and it sort of makes sense. That's why it's been so pervasive and people believe it so easily, is because they don't get into the details. They just go like, he was a bad person and Rothschild secretly funded it, right? They don't actually.
They don't go into the Hebrew or the Greek or anything like that. They just do this, right? Or like the original meaning, like, oh, actually, that's not what it meant, but actually, it is. By the way, the idea that you bless the nation of Israel, the people of the descendants of Judah, the Jews. Getting a blessing from Hashem, Yahweh, Jesus, that actually is part of the whole religion. So,
yeah.
Forward to today, people believe that that's the view that the church has always held.
Dude,
this is the best. This is the best they can do at opposing Judaism, is just cope about Talmud or Schofield.
So the irony.
Never the whole foundation.
Jesus was not just a Jewish Messiah. He was a global Messiah. He was
Oh, so you think the Jewish Messiah is to conquer the globe? That's what they're saying. He wasn't just the king of the Jews. He's the king of the goy too. You got to bow down and be his slave too. It's like he's not Jewish. He's God. So you think a Jew is God? Yeah. Oh, dude. Really laying the bangers here, huh, Amalek? Who is this goofball?
Jesus
Oh, wait till you read his
was
background. It's
not
great stuff.
just a Jewish Messiah. He was a global Messiah. He was everyone's Messiah. And that by faith, we become the children of Abraham. And by faith, we receive Abraham's
guys,
promises.
I'm not interested. I don't believe in their promises and their covenant. Why would I want to be grafted into the children of Abraham? I have my own ancestors. I'm not trying to be grafted into the Jew ancestors. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah, drug addict, drunk Christians. Yeah, what's this guy's background now? That's what I saw, something like that. Let me see here.
Yeah, it's in these individual screenshots I posted for you.
He looks like he's been up to no good. Admitted he fabricated a story about a transgender Native American lobbyist. Admitted that he fabricated a story. Okay. Embezzled money from the church. Was kicked out of his home for being physically abusive. Hold on. Whoa, I missed that. Xanax. In light of his abuse of Xanax. Jeez. June 5th, Hall was alleged to have committed assault with a weapon described as a knife-cutting instrument. He was also alleged to have committed a strangulation of a partner or family member inside his home. When was this? 2022? And he's on Tucker? He came back from this?
Yeah, how crazy is that? I saw the dates. I just started dying laughing. Like, okay, so what were you doing in 2022? Oh, that's right. Exposing the whole thing that Tucker Carlson was trying to cover up and not talking about. But then he got one shot by some fucking Rumble videos. And now here we are. We have to go through and debunk him. It's actually
practically rehab at this point. Yeah. Okay. So this guy, Whitebeard, the real Christian, he says, blah, 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 history. After crashing and burning his ministry, pulpit and pen, and the church he pastored getting in trouble with the law and admitted to drug addiction, he disappeared, allegedly quietly to a farm, did an interview, put back together, farmer, blah, blah. Okay, I guess that's enough. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
so, and then there's the charges at the very bottom, but it doesn't, I mean, you see, everyone can see what's going on here. So we've got, oh yeah, wait, did you get that last part where strangulation of a family member?
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, okay. I didn't have the thing up while you were doing that. Okay. Yeah.
I was going to say a second ago, the very first part of Galatians chapter 3, he says, you know, when the promise is given to Abraham and to Abraham's seed, Paul says, it doesn't say seeds plural, it says seed singular. The promise is not given to the Jews. The promise is a reference to Abraham's seed. That's Jesus Christ, because Jesus was of the lineage of Abraham. So the promise is not bless the Jews and God will bless you. The promise is bless Christ and God will bless you.
Wow.
Furthermore, not only is that promise just for Christ.
Dude, the idea that God doesn't have a chosen people in the nation of priests, the people of Judah, like, come on, dude. Because one Jew comes along later and says, no, all of that is just about this one person because he says so. That's the best they got.
Also,
like, your whole book's about the Jews being chosen, dude. Enough of the cope. You're being grafted into their chosen covenant.
This is the Paul Midrash too, right in front of our eyes. Yeah. It's Galatians 3:16, and he says that he's referring to, Paul is interpreting that the single seed in Genesis, that's talking about Christ. That's one of the names that they were pulling from the Old Testament to create this Christ figure, essentially, was from that. So he's reading into that he's reading that into the text that back there, that's actually another reference to Christ. This is what Christianity was made out of. And then today they point to that scripture, basically like being
Yeah, because he's
circular.
the seed of Jesse, or
as
the
the-
shoot or
Yes.
branch of Jesse also.
Yes. Yeah. So that is what's going on there. It's a midrash on, I don't remember what the Genesis, but it's from Genesis, essentially.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the Hebrew in the Genesis there, it is clear. They're talking about, it says all the descendants like the stars in the sky.
Yeah, this
Right?
is, yeah.
It's clearly talking about multiple. Seed can be plural or singular. Like you spill your seed, that's lots of sperm and seed.
It's the sperma. It's sperma versus spermata, I think, or something like that. This is one of the arguments that they use that to show that the Septuagint was primarily what the creators of Christianity were working out of. Is this argument right here that Paul makes in Galatians, right?
Paul says their calling is irrevocable, and that they're committed with the oracles of God. Like,
well, he acts like that's the context of Galatians as well. That the context of Galatians is that actually God meant the believers in Christ back then when he said that, not, you know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
But by the end of the chapter in
Sorry.
Galatians 3, the Apostle Paul says, you are the heirs of the promise, meaning that promise is extended to us. And so the irony is you have these so-called Christian Zionists who believe that we have to bless Jews in order for God to bless us, and they're actually giving away their own inheritance. That's our promise. I'm a child of Abraham. If you're a Christian, you're a child of
You should. I just posted the Bible Gateway. You should show this what the context of it, what he's talking about here is. It is so
Galatians
obvious.
3?
Yeah. Look, just Galatians 3:15.
It's so funny. He's like, I'm the child. I'm adopted into
stupid.
Abraham, not you Jews. I'm the Jew now. I got the Abraham DNA now. I'm grafted in. Like, it drives me crazy. Like this goes hard or something. Goy explaining to the Jews that you're a wannabe Jew. It's just pathetic.
Abraham. We receive the heir, or rather, we receive the promises of Abraham because we inherit them by the virtue of adoption in Jesus Christ. That's what Christians have historically believed. And there are other supporting texts. You got Romans chapter 9, where the Apostle Paul says that Jews who do not believe in Jesus are not children of Abraham. You've got Romans chapter 11 that paints the picture of the tree of faith, in which unbelieving Jews are branches on this tree that have been cut off and severed from both Abraham and God, and in their place are grafted in believing Gentiles. And so
you know what's crazy is that like John Hagee would agree with all of this right now. You know that, right? He would agree with he would still argue that you also need to bless the Jews because they were the original chosen and they had a covenant and stuff. That's the only disagreement. But like all the rest of this is just, a lot of it is just verbatim Paul, not revelatory at all. Every Christian that knows anything knows this. Like,
the whole point of what he's saying is that the Abrahamic promise comes before Sinai, right? So that's what he's saying. So therefore, the Gentiles don't need to follow Torah. That is the main argument going on here in this part of the Bible from that I sent you just now. That whole thing, like that is the general thing. What he's saying, that Gentile inclusion without that they can do that without becoming Jews themselves. That's what's being argued here. So this idea that, he's arguing that it's canceling out ethnic Israel or anything like that, that is retarded. That's not in there. That's not what Paul's saying. Anybody can go read Romans 9 through 11, 9 through 15, and clearly see what Paul says to do about ethnic Israel. And it's not what these idiots are saying. So yeah, look, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
A specific verse?
No. You got to go down to the law and promise. That section, the law and promise. If you scroll up a bit, right there,
okay.
the law.
I don't want to read all this right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the section right there. It's just he's not understanding what Paul is saying here, and I encourage anyone to go check it out.
I write about Galatians 3 in my book. He says, "You foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? Before your very eyes, Jesus Christ was clearly portrayed as crucified." I write about, what this means. Galatians were not eyewitnesses of Jesus crucified. He was portrayed as crucified through the scriptures. They revealed Jesus to people by apostles like Paul teaching the Christ from the scriptures. That's how it's clearly portrayed as crucified, because the Galatians were far away and this was at a different time. They didn't see Jesus crucified with their eyes. Nobody did. It was all portrayed through the scriptures. But anyway.
Right. He's basically saying that the promise is now in that idea of faith itself. The belief that happened, that is what he's saying, that essentially that Christ fulfills that promise that was before Sinai. And it's not that they're replacing ethnic Israel or destroying ethnic Israel or anything like that. He's just defining those things for Christians.
Guys, we're 30 minutes in. I just realized I forgot to turn on the power chat. powerchat.live/knowmorenews. Support the channel. Let's hit the goal. Thank you, Da Vinci Now.
Sent $10. Have a great day.
Testing. I hope we don't get 10 of those. Ratchet.
Ratchet sent
Jumanji.
$20. Jumanji.
Hold on. You got, dude, I just got sent.
Hold on.
Parisa Time sent $0 on guys. Adam and Amalek are blessing us with their spiritual. Be sure to give some material, otherwise you have a small hat and no Viking.
Yeah, no Viking sword. No one should be
David
reading,
Sinal
thinking, or
sent
arguing about another
$5.
man's
No
seed
one
unless
should be
you are a
reading,
doctor.
thinking, or arguing about another
Dude,
man's
talk about
unless
being
you are
cucked.
a...
You're like, I want to worship the seed of the cum of God.
Garrett
You
sent
ever
$5.
read
Have you ever
Schofield on Xanax?
On Xanax?
Yeah. Good one. All right, thanks, guys. All right, what were you going to say, Amalek? Somebody sent you
I just
something
got
funny?
I just got the page of the Schofield Bible on Galatians 3. You should bring it up. It's making the same arguments he is.
That's so funny.
It's at the bottom. That's the reference note.
Okay.
You'll see it's making the same arguments he is. I know it's hard. I know it's tiny, but it is making the exact, like, it shows they don't even read. Look, it's referencing the Romans verse that I talk about. It's referencing those Galatian verses that we were just talking about. Under the new covenant of grace, the principle of obedience in the divine will is inwrought. So far is the life of the believer from the anarchy of self-will that he is in law to Christ, adopted, right? Adopted. That's basically in the new law of Christ. That's Galatians 6. Is his delight, while through the indwelling spirit, the righteousness of the law is fulfilled in him. The commandments are used in the distinctly Christian scriptures as an instruction in righteousness. It's agreeing with what it's the same thing, basically. It's the same argument he's making. So he's sitting there crying about the Schofield Bible that's saying the same thing he's making, like the same arguments he is. So he's never.
They try to turn this into a
read
scandal as if like there's not lots of people doing this with Bibles, because like you need to cross-reference other verses and give you context and explain things.
The Orthodox Study Bible has almost the exact same verbiage at the bottom of its page as this right here. Is what I would say.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. I know Jack Stone has that. If has his version of that, I would.
Yeah. So all the arguments they're making here, for the most part, even the most hardcore Christian Zionists would agree with most of this. That's the other problem. They act like they're like this is gonna end them or something when it just validates them even more. The Christian Zionists, they're validating them with these arguments, acting like it's owning them when it's really just confirming what they already think. Not opposition.
We, are brought into the family of Abraham and in covenant with God by virtue of faith. And so when someone like Mike Huckabee or Ted Cruz or any other politician or preacher preaches a message that, if you want God to bless you, you need to do X, Y, or Z for the Jews, they're handing away or handing out Christian promises. Those are for us. We have those in Jesus. We are the children of Abraham.
Trans Jews. And then they want to call us Jews. These people want to be the descendants of Abraham, and they love Moses, and confirm all the Jewish prophecies, and then call us Jewish. So cucked.
Father.
We heard that part, I think, actually. Here we go. Now he's coping about Jesus being a Jew. This ought to be good.
Apostle. When people say Jesus was a Jew, it's like, well, yes, in a sense he was. He was a physical descendant of David and of Abraham. But if you're implying that Jesus was a rabbinic Jew,
No, that's
Nobody
nobody's
says that.
nobody is doing that. That's a straw man.
As the people who say Jesus is a Jew, more than any other group of people probably online, other than the actual Christians, or other than Messianic Jews, I would say that is not the argument that anybody's making. Messianic Jews aren't saying that. Like Zionist Christians aren't saying that. Pagans aren't saying that. We're not saying that. No, I've never met anybody who thinks when they make that argument that Jesus is Jewish, that their like underlying thing that they're saying is that he was like a rabbinic Jew or Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Nobody was would have been classified as a rabbinic Jew at that time.
Exactly. And like this idea that, oh, he was an Essene, oh, he was a zealot, oh, he was a Pharisee, any of these, like, these are all theories, okay? And what he actually is midrash, okay? So what he is what the authors believed, okay?
Yeah. This is so cool.
But if you're implying that Jesus was a rabbinic Jew, no, he wasn't. That was a completely different religion.
Completely different. I mean, it's based on all the same books for the most part. They both read Isaiah.
Dude,
I hate this completely different religion. You mean same God, same prophecies, same scriptures, but it's completely different?
They added some holidays, guys, and some practices for not having the temple. And basically, like, in their own lore, there's times where they're outside the temple and how they make sacrifices and things like that without a temple. Yeah. So all they're doing is like taking that,
reading to the Jews the Jewish scriptures, but he's followed a completely different religion than the Jews that follow those scriptures today.
He goes, if Jesus saw rabbinic Judaism, he wouldn't even recognize it. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
He would know every verse.
He would literally basically, he could sit there and argue toe to toe with them Hillel style, right? Like he could legitimately just completely, I mean, he would have a place in the Talmud. Let's just put it that way. If he was a real historical rabbi.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. That was a completely different religion. And most Christians don't grasp that. They think that, Jesus was a Jew, like Ben Shapiro. Jesus would not have recognized Ben Shapiro's religion. The Apostle Paul would not have recognized.
That is so retarded. Ben Shapiro believes in the Tanakh and the Torah. That's what Jesus would have believed in. You're telling me he wouldn't recognize it? All the same prophets, same Genesis, same Moses.
He's picking up arguments that are in the Talmud. Literally, like the arguments that are in the Talmud that we later see, the positions that are held in minority positions, sometimes majority positions in the Talmud, are the same arguments and things that Jesus, like they're aware of the arguments that Jesus is making, essentially, basically what I'm saying, right? Yeah, so the idea that he would be out, he's inside the tradition of rabbinic Judaism. He's arguing in the same way they would have, using the same type of arguments and all of it. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and Ben Shapiro today sits down with Christian after Christian, works with a bunch of Christians, and they're like, yeah, Judeo-Christian values. We share the Old Testament, blah, blah, blah. Like, they recognize we're basically just the same, but just, a couple pages in the book are different, a few more extra miracles. And that's the only difference. Oh, he wouldn't recognize it. Okay, dude. Sure he wouldn't. That's why my book, it was bestseller in Christianity and in Judaism, because Jesus wouldn't recognize the Judaism of today. Okay.
Recognized it. They would have taken a look at it and said, what is this?
Because it didn't exist.
It didn't exist. They call some things the same words, but it's a fundamentally different religion.
So
why? Just because they added more books and developed the lore further and have newer, more developed interpretations by different people over time?
Americans are not aware of that. You would think that
the very first Christians wouldn't recognize Christianity today.
Ordained ministers would be aware of that.
Not even the Orthodox.
An ordained minister. He had a church for years in Arkansas.
Well, I mean, you would think that Mike Huckabee would know, as he quotes Genesis 12:3, that Galatians 3 specifically says that's not for Jews. So then you're left with one of two options. The first one is Mike Huckabee, a Baptist minister, knows his Bible. The Bible says in Galatians 3, Paul says, I'm not talking about Jews. It's not about Jews. That verse is about Jesus. And the promises are for Christians. They're the heirs of the promise. That's option A. He knows that, but he's lying. The other option is he genuinely doesn't know that. He's totally ignorant. He's never, ever read Galatians.
No. Option 3, He knows the Bible, and that's just what he believes it means. He forgot that one.
Also,
he
this argument
disagrees on the meaning. He thought he
this
sincerely,
argument's been had.
genuinely disagrees on the meaning.
This is so stupid. The idea that the answer to Galatians 3 and this argument has already been had. To act like he knows it better than any of these other people is so stupid. He obviously doesn't even know the arguments.
In his life. I don't think that's really plausible. I would suspect he has read it. I don't know what he does with it, other than at a certain point, we have to start asking ourselves if there's active concealment. If you know what the scripture says, that these are promises.
How about where Paul says, do not boast over the root, bro?
For Christians.
Or that God has not abandoned his people.
But you are
or all of Israel will be saved.
To Jews.
Yeah, the purpose is the mystery of the end times. That's the whole part that they're supposed to come to faith, hopefully before Jesus comes back, but that when Jesus comes back, they will all through all Israel will be saved. I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's basically what he's saying.
Even the Zionist Christians would agree with this verse. He says, Scripture foresaw that God would justify the Gentiles by faith. What that means actually is he read the Scriptures and thought, I'm supposed to go take a Jewish religion to the Gentiles, and that the Gentiles will become some of the nations that are blessed through the nation of priests that are the light to the nations, which they also applied to Jesus. But if you look at Genesis 12:3, hold on, I'll pull it up in a second when we finish this video.
In direct contradiction to what the Apostle Paul said in terms of how that should be interpreted, at what point do we start looking at them as the bad guys?
Well, I definitely look at them as the bad guys. I'll say that.
They're the bad guys. What does Paul say? They are the enemies according to the gospel, but what is it? Enemies according to the. I don't want to butcher it. Oh my God.
But on accounts of the patriarchs.
Loved on account of the patriarchs.
Yeah, something like that.
So because they're the chosen people.
It's Romans 9:4 or something like that.
No, Romans 11:28.
Gotcha. 11:28-29. Yeah, that's right.
As far as the gospel is concerned, they are enemies for your sake. But as far as election is concerned, they are loved on account of the patriarchs. Or King James, but as touching the election, so they're elected by God, they are beloved for the Father's sake, because they're the God's people. So Genesis 12:3, you know what? All the people will be blessed through you. Okay, hold on. I gotta look at that more. Let's do the next clip.
The thing is, like, it's just his whole reading of Galatians is so stupid. Paul's view was clearly that basically to save Israel, that Israel might have to be diluted to the Gentiles essentially, and that would be okay, and that Israel would survive it. That's kind of how he viewed it. That through this, like, basically getting the Gentiles onto this religion, that would itself save Israel. Like, this isn't some crazy, like, weird plan or anything like that. Like, oh, he must have been a genius to think this out. It makes perfect sense. Like, look at this too. Context.
Look at the context. I will make you into a great nation. It's talking about the nation of the chosen people. All the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. The nation of priests that are the light to the nations. It's talking about a nation, not Jesus. Paul midrashically interpreted the seed to be about Jesus, but is this the same verse of the seed?
Paul's giving like a Christological reading. He's not saying that the Jews are not part of the seed of Abraham. You know what I mean? Like, he's basically talking about the Christology of Jesus predating all of this, essentially. That's what he's trying to say here. He's trying to say that they're united in Christ to become the heirs, right? And this inclusion is not replacement. That is just not true. And the church that ever read this into the text, they were dumb. They were stupid. It's very clear in the text. You can just go read it yourself. Read through all the arguments about this text, and go read Romans 9-15, and you can see for yourself what Paul says about what should be done about the ethnic Israel. which is to love
To
them.
your offspring or seed, I will give this land. So he built an altar there to the Lord.
Amalek is right again. Wignets are trying to co-opt Christianity despite it being a demonstrably poisoned and cyclically diminutive brainwashing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Macrometer. Fire Yeshua HaMashiach trap song at the beginning of the show. Appreciate you, bro. So, to your offspring. So, it also, what Christian Zionists would say is that Paul believes that through Jesus, who is the King of the Jews, all of the nations will be blessed through him. That's what he believes. So that means they get to become the descendants of Abraham too. That's what this is. John Hagee and everybody would agree. That's what Christianity is. But what this doesn't say is that the Jews
It's adoption into that nation, basically. That's a good way to understand
into
it.
the nations of the Jews.
Yes, grafted
and Paul
in. Yes.
does say, do not boast over them. So the reason they're all losing the argument and have lost the argument is because the facts aren't necessarily on their side. It's ambiguous at best, and they're losing the argument, and their arguments aren't persuasive enough to convince a lot of people that Jews are the synagogue of Satan and not God's first chosen covenant people.
Yeah, they can never explain why in Romans 9-15, why does Paul say that the Jews should be blessed, right? Why does he say? He says they're getting material blessings because through them you have received spiritual blessings, right? So what that is right there setting up this dichotomy where of course Christians are going to prefer Jews than Muslims in the Middle East, obviously, because that's how this whole dynamic has been playing out, that Jews are like the elder brothers of the religion essentially, and that like paying to them or giving them their due for helping to bring about Jesus and bring about the scriptures and the promises to the Gentiles, that they should be rewarded with that materially. That's what he says. And at best, that's for James the Just sect of Christianity, Judaism, and at worst it's just like ethnic Jews in Israel that they're giving money to. So it shouldn't surprise anybody.
I would say at its heart, dispensationalism is a Jewish interpretive model. As a matter of fact, they will actually
the whole thing
take that as a point of bragging that we interpret the scripture.
Hey, you're not going far enough, dude. All of the Bible in Christianity is a Jewish interpretive model.
Is a Jewish interpretive model. As a matter of fact, they will actually take that as a point of bragging that we interpret the scripture the way the Jews interpret the scripture. Well, the Jews missed Jesus. Like he came in the flesh. He was there. They saw him. As a matter of fact, they saw him dead, buried, and resurrected and still didn't believe. So maybe that's not who we should be taking pointers from.
Oh, see, God made them so evil that they knew he resurrected and still didn't believe. That's the level of their evilness according to this guy. That's crazy. That's crazy. As if they're so evil, they would know it was God's plan and still reject it. Are we supposed to believe their interpretations when they miss Jesus? Like that's the argument.
They actually do believe this.
Are wrong.
When I argue with them, they actually do believe this. That Jews deep down, they know that he was the Messiah. They know it. Yeah. They killed him despite that. Like as if, that this is like schizo brain thinking. This is it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Anyway, I'll just keep going.
All the rabbis out there, they just secretly really believe in Jesus. They just don't want to admit it to you. Exactly.
Yeah, you guys got it. 100%.
Yeah, next level evil.
So stupid.
Although, funny too, it contradicts that Paul says that they've been blinded and stumbled and stuff, right?
Yeah.
In terms of understanding biblical prophecy.
What's Jesus's role in dispensationalist theology?
Also, hold on, Amalek, this is important too. I had a thought. Their whole argument, where this logically goes to, is if dispensationalism is false, then that means Israel's not supposed to have a return from the exile and a rebirth of an ingathering of the exiles, right? In Jerusalem, earthly Jerusalem, right? They say that's wrong. That's not prophecy, but they believe that's antichrist prophecy. So that's what they're really getting at here. Is they're saying they're satanic and antichrist, and this isn't real Yahweh's. This isn't Yahweh's good prophecy. It's Yahweh's bad prophecy. That's really where this ends up at.
Yeah. Within the lore.
Thus,
The lore
still
has this built
fulfilling God's prophecy.
And the
Still
other
part
thing
of
too,
the
I'll just
plan.
say, the other thing is this was part of the earliest layers of the church, guys. Like Justin Martyr believed in this, Irenaeus believed in this, Hippolytus believed in this. They all believed in some version where God or Jesus will or before the end times that he will essentially return the Jews, regather them back, and have a physical restoration of the people in that land again. This is not some crazy, oh my God, Schofield dispensational, anything like that. This has been part of the messianic expectations from the early church fathers, even.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, Jesus' role in dispensational theology is so it depends to whom. So John Nelson Darby, the inventor of dispensationalism, referred to the church, the Christian church, as a parenthesis. That God's main plan is Israel, but because they've been naughty and disobedient, the church comes in and we're a parenthesis. So instead of being like the bride of Christ, the church is more like a summer fling. That this is where the
Well, yeah, Paul says you're making Israel envious so that they believe in they come to believe in the end times.
It really is like seething ex-girlfriend brain, right?
Right. That's funny. Yeah. We're supposed to be the bride, but the Jews say that we're only a fling. Bro.
It's like crazy X.
Like a Jewish love triangle. They're getting cucked by the Jews is what's actually happened.
rapture comes in, that eventually God will rapture us, take us out. We're gone completely. And then Israel can resume its role as the big picture. It's a very Jewish way of looking at the scripture, where Jews and Judaism and Jewish people is always at the center of the scripture, as opposed to Jesus being at the center of the scripture. So eschatologically, in terms of the end times, there are different ways that Christians have looked at it.
I love how he frames the dichotomy, like Jesus being at the center of scripture somehow makes it not Jewish. But Jesus is the Jewish Messiah based on the Jewish scriptures. See how it's like a false dichotomy where it's like, hey, it's not Jewish if it's Jesus. Meanwhile, Jesus is still the Jewish Messiah from the Jewish scriptures. Yeah, the Jewish way of looking at Jewish scripture. See what I'm saying? This is Abrahamic, limited hangout,
stupid.
Abrahamic paradigm bullshit.
Dude, imagine this. Imagine a world where right now we all know the Batman analogy we've used before, where we're retelling Batman a whole bunch in our own lives, right? And imagine that you could talk to the descendants of, there's like a tradition of keeping Batman mythology alive from Zack Snyder's kids and all the kids of all the people who produced those movies and all those things about Batman. And that became like a whole ethnic group and religion tied to that Batman thing. Imagine then fast forwarding 2,000 years later and telling the authors who kept that tradition how they should be reading their stories. Oh no, you missed it. Like when your great grandfather, great, when he wrote that, he actually meant this. This is actually what your scriptures mean. This is so incredibly stupid. The people who have a closer idea of the scriptures themselves are the ones who wrote it and kept the tradition and had all of the oral traditions and all that other stuff, right? This is stupid. Now, if you want to say that like, oh, they missed their Messiah in the scripture as a Christian, fine. I think that's basically what the Bible says. That's kind of what Paul's saying, right? Is that they had their eyes blinded, they had their hearts hardened, all those things, right? If you want to say that, then fine. But to pretend that the original authorship somehow doesn't understand their own scriptures is such a stupid argument. It makes no sense. You would never do that under any other circumstances. Sit there and like, oh, you don't even understand your own writing. Like that is just from the ground, from the very beginning, a dumb argument. Yeah,
Throughout
Superman's a better
history,
analogy. That's
there's
true.
amillennialism, and I'm not going to bother explaining these, but postmillennialism, premillennialism, historic premillennialism, that is, they all agree, though, that God only has one chosen people, and that's those who believe in Jesus, whether they're Jewish, whether they're Gentile, it doesn't matter. We're all the children of God if we believe. Dispensationalism is different from all of those different ways that Christians can view the end times, because dispensationalism is saying, well, really, God's main love is the Jewish people. And for a time, in a so-called church age, in this dispensation of time, the church is here. But one day we're going to be sucked out of here. We're going to beam up to heaven. And then Israel will come back and form the center of the show.
But Israel's already back and quickly becoming the center of the show. So how do they cope with that? They go, oh, it's satanic. It means Satan and the Antichrist is going to come. So that's where this leads. Best case scenario, Satan and the Antichrist, then Jesus saves us. That's where this leads to.
So from my perspective and the perspective of historic Christianity, it's not only an insult to the church to act like we're some kind of summer fling for Jesus and that, it's really about Israel. I think it's also...
I'd like to see the verses. If this is really what dispensationalists argue, I'd like to see the verses and these claims he's attributing to them right now.
I just retweeted all the Schofield Bible pages that Hitler Hated Christ has on his page, and a bunch of them are in reference to this. If you want to, it's like the little tiny footnotes. So I get that that's annoying, but that is what he's referencing.
Yeah.
He's misrepresenting them.
Respectful to Christ, because he didn't come to be like a tribal deity of some desert war cult in the Middle East. He came to be the Messiah and the Savior of the world. They emphasize...
No. You want the Savior of the world to be this figure that is the Hebrew tribal war god. Oh, they rejected the God, the Messiah that was supposed to conquer us all. So that means we should all worship him. That's like reverse psychology 101. Oh, you're here, Goy. Now you're enslaved. I mean, saved.
Jesus.
Oy vey, nothing the Jews hate more than all the Goyim worshiping the Jewish Messiah.
Also, in Revelation, it literally says that Jesus comes back and returns on the Davidic throne in Zion, and that he will rule like for 1,000 years in all the lore. It's Revelation 20 through 21 or 22, I think, and it goes over all the things that are going to happen when Jesus returns. He thinks the same thing. He believes the same thing, that all this stuff just has to happen and then Jesus will return. And they believe that they're basically like helping Jesus to return. That it's just two sides of the same exact coin. He thinks it's part of a prophecy that's going to end up with Jesus returning, and that that Jesus will set all these dispensationalists right. It's ridiculous. And like the idea that like dispensationalism is it's so weird, and it's such a Jewish way of viewing the scriptures to think that God has different ways of viewing different people at different times. That is the whole narrative arc of the Old Testament and then the New Testament as well. So I don't understand. Like, he's an idiot.
And okay, so I said, where's one of the verses about them like being the fling? They'd probably cite this. Look, he talks about the wild oliver tree. Dude, oliver tree is biblical prophecy. No, 100%. He was just cut off. Oliver tree has been cut off by Baal, ladies and gentlemen. Burnt in the red heifer, burnt to ash in a sacrifice to Hashem, the wild olive tree. Okay. I do not want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers, so that you will not be conceited against the Jews. A hardening in part has come to Israel until the full number of the Gentiles has come in, and so all Israel will be saved. The deliverer will come from Zion.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was quoting earlier, basically, right there. That's the verse. Those are the verses I was talking about.
So
like
once
they have
the
no
fullness of the
Romans
Gentiles
9
comes
through 15.
in, once enough Goyim worship the Jewish Messiah, then this is the mystery. Then the Jews are going to recognize, oh, Jesus is Jewish, and we're all Noahides, and he provided a divine role. You got it wrong with the Trinity a little bit. No big deal. That's what we're talking about. Hardening in part,
so
temporary hardening.
Christianity's whole thing is just a gotcha against the Jews, after Europeans have lost so much.
No, it's Christianity is wannabe Jews that want the sloppy seconds Messiah that was meant to conquer us to begin with. That's what it is.
Oh, and right here it says this. This is Revelations 27. It says, "When the 1,000 years are over, Satan will be released from his prison, and will go out to deceive the nations in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and to gather them for battle. In numbers they are like the sand on the seashore. They marched across the breadth of earth and surrounded the camp of God's people, the city he loves, Zion. But fire came down from heaven and devoured them, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet had been thrown. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever." So your own prophecies, guy who's complaining about them ruling from Jerusalem, is literally about the exact same thing. Jesus is going to come down and do the Gog and Magog and the whole thing. Everything that you hate about them, that's what Jesus does when he comes back in your own lore. And where does he rule from? From Zion, from the city he loves, the camp of God's people. There's no other way to understand this.
Mm-hmm. Any real anti-Zionist would be anti-everything Hashem and Yahweh and Jesus. The deliverer comes from Zion. The law comes from Zion. Zion's his holy mountain. You don't get to call yourself, act like you're anti-Jewish because you're anti-Zionist. Meanwhile, you're worshiping the guy from Zion. A real anti-Zionist would be anti all of it. They're just they're anti-Zionists in like such a limited scope where it's just like, Talmud and Schofield, never getting to the root of it.
Jewish messiahship all the time. Matter of fact, you'll hear tribal deity of some desert war cult in the Middle East. He came to be the Messiah and the Savior of the world.
Is this not obvious, dude? No, it's clearly the Messiah of the tribal war god from the Middle East, and you just also want that Messiah to conquer the Goyim along with the Jews. He acts like this is some own or something. This is the worst.
Emphasize Jesus's Jewish messiahship all the time. Matter of fact, you'll hear Jews who deny that Jesus is the Son of God. I don't even mean Messianic Jews, just Jews that, believe the typical teaching in the Talmud about Jesus being punished in hell, all of that stuff. But they will, when speaking to Christians, point out, that your Messiah is Jewish. Jesus obviously was a physical descendant of Abraham. There's no argument there. But the term that Jesus used for himself more than 70 times was Son of Man. Jesus did not emphasize his own Jewishness. Jesus came as a savior of mankind, and so he called himself Son of Man, which was a term from the prophet Isaiah. And so it not only reduces the big picture of Christianity to something that is much, much smaller, it reduces Jesus from a global Messiah to, he's a Jewish Messiah that they loan us for a while.
Dude,
the Jewish Messiah that they loaned us for a while. Interesting way of putting it. That is kind of what happened. Funny. But yeah, no. Oh, he's the Son of Man. So that's we're supposed to be excited about that. Go read every verse from Daniel 7 and Psalm 80 and Book of Enoch 46 and 48, what it says about the Son of Man, about conquering all the Goyim, enslaving and conquering the Goyim. That's what Son of Man is supposed to do. And he says it with this calm, confident voice. But it's just so great. The Son of Man's going to conquer all the kings and have them bow and tremble in fear. Just the worst, dude. I can't handle this cope. Now they're pushing the Christian-Muslim alliance. RT's pushing it too, of course. Your Christian-controlled Christian-Muslim alliance, kosher opposition, ran from RT once again.
Because of the Islamic view of Jesus, they've actually been quite kind to...
Hold on, one more thing, too. The Bible says, where is he born, the King of the Jews, when he's born? Okay? It's not Jews calling Jesus the Jewish Messiah, okay? The Bible calls him the Jewish Messiah. And all the first people that followed him were Jews and believed him too. The only people waiting for a Messiah were Jews. Don't try to downplay his Jewish messiahness and call him the Son of Man like that's any better.
The holy sites because of the Islamic view of Jesus, they've actually been quite kind to the holy sites in the region.
What is the Islamic view of Jesus?
Well, I don't want to say that Muslims have a high view of Jesus. The reason is because Jesus is not fictional. Jesus is real. Jesus of Nazareth is a real biological person. To this day, he still exists. He's in heaven. He's not here.
Still, see, he was always in heaven. Just like they think he exists and he's real in heaven today. That's what they thought from the very beginning. Amalek, do you see this?
Yeah. They thought of him, dude. He was a way for Jews in the diaspora to tell the Torah story without having to do the whole Torah. Do you guys understand this? It's very easy to understand. They had 5, 6, 7, 8 generations of Jews living in Greek-speaking diaspora, and they had to figure out like a way of like, okay, how do we collect tax from these people? How do we have how do we keep these people Jewish, like and their identity, despite them being multiple generations of just speaking Greek? Well, the answer was to like put it into a pesher, put it into a condensed version essentially of the scriptures, and that's where Jesus is born out of, is this idea of taking, Noah, Joseph, Moses, Adam, all the stories and condensing them into one character, one moral of the story, the Omni Jew that we talk about in your book. That is what
repackaged.
Yes.
Torah tales.
That is, yeah. That is what the initial believed, and then they they add all the stuff later. But
an LLM remix.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that Muslims have a false view of Jesus. It's not the real view of Jesus, but they're actually quite fond of him. And so they believe that Jesus was sent by God, that he was of God, that he said true things, that he performed real miracles, and that he's actually coming again. That doesn't make them Christians. It doesn't mean
Muslims believe Jesus is coming again?
They do.
Tucker didn't know that? Are you kidding me? All the shilling and sweeping he's been doing for Islam. He had to have known that. He's just being stupid.
No, I don't think he knew that.
Wow.
That doesn't make them Christians. It doesn't mean
Muslims believe Jesus is coming again?
They do. As a prophet, not as the Messiah, but they believe in his return.
Just so everybody knows.
They call him a Messiah too, actually.
Yeah. Well, the Islamic end times is that Jesus comes back, he kills the Dajjal, which is like the Antichrist in the thing. He breaks the image of the cross, okay? And he quote unquote kills the swine, is what it says. And then he abolishes jizya, which is like the tax system that they use against non-Muslims. So Jesus abolishes that. And then what he does is he passes his authority. He stands behind the Mahdi and he prays, basically giving his authority, Jesus' authority behind the Mahdi, right? Which is going to be
Beowulf 914 sent $0 on. We are getting to these freaks. He wouldn't have said he was historical if we weren't.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that was a response to
because we are doing it. So their whole lore, the Muslim lore for Jesus coming back in the end times, is that he's not the Son of God, but that he's going to give over authority to the Islamic, basically like messianic figure, essentially, right? So this whole like, oh, we're gonna have a Christian-Muslim alliance because the Muslims don't view Jesus negatively like the Jews. Dude, the Muslim view of Jesus is A, he's not the Son of God, he's not part of God, and B, that when he comes back, the whole thing that he's gonna do is he's basically gonna tell all you Christians that the Muslims are right, and he's gonna hand over like, the rod of Jesse, if you will, over to Ishmael, over to the Muslims and things like that. So their plan is to rule over you in the same way that the Jewish plan is, right? The Jewish plan is they have the fall of Edom and all this other stuff and their version of the Gog and Magog. But the Muslim plan is the exact same. The fall of Edom, the Great Gog and Magog War, and all these other things. It's the exact same thing. So they have nothing that they can be mad at Jews for their end times eschatology that Islam doesn't also share. So that when they do this whole cute, they don't insult Jesus the same way Jews do, it shows that they don't know the lore of eschatology of either side, basically. It's all the same.
I want to ask something because I keep saying this. I heard it, but I'm going to ask Eve real quick, clarify on something. Eve, does the Quran use the Arabic word for Messiah, Moshiach, and apply it to Jesus?
Yes, it
Might have been
does.
Hadith.
The Quran uses the Arabic term al-Masih,
Oh, yeah, it does, of course.
al-Masih, which is exactly the Arabic version of the Hebrew Moshiach or Mashiach, meaning the anointed one or Messiah. It's applied directly to Jesus, called Isa ibn Maryam multiple times, like in Surah 345, where the angels tell Mary her son's name will be Al-Masih, Isa, son of Mary. It shows up about 11 times across several verses, always tied to him as a special title, even though Islam sees him as a prophet and not divine. The word itself comes from the same Semitic root as the Hebrew one, borrowed through Aramaic, Syriac.
So I told you, the guy was wrong. He goes, oh, they don't, he said that Islam doesn't see him as a Messiah. That he's wrong. They do. They don't see him as God or the Trinity, but they do see him as a messianic figure. The Jewish Messiah at that, although they call him Muslim.
Yeah. That's where Islam spawned out of, was this anti-Trinitarian group of Jewish Christians and Christians who basically like got kicked out of their area by the Trinitarian Christians, and that they went down into what like basically Arabia at the time, the northern parts of Arabia, and that's like the sect that makes Islam rather. So all the pagan, anti-pagan polemics in the Quran, they're calling Christianity itself paganism and idolatrous because of the Trinity. They were even Torah observant, some of them. Yeah.
Dude,
so
did you see the clip I played
problem.
yesterday with the Muslim guy with Sneeko? And he said if he wasn't Muslim, he would be Jewish because the commandments and the one, basically they're Noahide. Did you hear that?
Yeah, isn't it incredible how
crazy,
they don't see I mean, people like that, they just have no clue, but it should be obvious to everybody that what we're saying is the accurate view of reality. I mean, when you have it like that right in front of your face, you can't even deny it. That's what the purpose
So here's
was.
a claim. He claims that Israel has an AI called the Gospel, which he claims is used to intentionally kill women and children as a way to mock Christianity. I highly doubt they have a program specifically for targeting women and children to mock Christianity. This sounds like more bullshit, made-up fear-mongering that Christians do. That's their way to mock Christianity. They call it the gospel. What's the source for this?
There's another one that's called the gospel. And so I think that it's...
why do they call it the gospel?
I think because it's deadly and kills a lot of people, and that's their way to mock Christianity, that is their good news. So let me explain that.
He's fucking right, dude.
The blood.
No way, Joe. You guys, he's right. The gospel, known in Hebrew as Habsarah, is an artificial intelligence targeting system developed by Israel Defense Forces and Israeli intelligence group.
Oh, he had that other guy back on too. Remember that Alaskan photographer?
Yeah, the weirdo dude.
The weirdo guy. He had him back on, and I could only get like through 30 minutes of it, and he sits there and cries the whole time that like, oh, the Israelis and Bibi are, they're actually like funding the churches, and it's because of the money and like he's hyper fixated on this idea that Israel is getting it like support in the churches because of monetary reasons rather than biblical reasons, and it's just it's such cope. I mean, we went over it when we went over the last time with him, but that is where they're getting this some of that information, because he does go over the idea that they're using highly sophisticated technology and AI systems to track which Christians are pro and anti-Zionist and blah 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 blah. So that they are complaining about this stuff, but dude, your churches are letting it happen because it's the nation of priests. What do you want them to do?
So he says it's for targeting women and children. I mean, I'm sure that's like his opinion or his spin on it. But also, it's weird. They call it the gospel. I thought there's nothing they hated more than the gospel. Sounds like they're naming it the gospel because they think it's like a cool name for their AI program. They spin it. So even when they name their things after Christian things, they spin it that it must be in some bad way to like satanically kill women and children.
Bloodshed of the old covenant religion of Moses is what symbolized the forgiveness of sins. It allowed them to see and understand the Messiah and what Jesus would do on the cross, and by his blood were actually forgiven. But after the temple fell in 70 AD, with no altar, no temple, with no priesthood to make those sacrifices, with no blood being shed, where does the blood come from in rabbinic Judaism?
Chickens.
And I think it comes from their fixation on war. I think that they view it as almost an actual real atonement, that they are accomplishing something of spiritual value when they go to war and kill Gentiles.
Blood offerings of atonement to Yahweh by going to war against Gentiles?
Dude, it's just like a mission.
When have Jews won wars against Gentiles?
Yeah, dude, it's so stupid. The idea that like that's the root of wars, like because they're doing these big, huge, satanic, Luciferian
feeding blood to Satan.
Yeah, it's so dumb, dude. It's so low, dude. Wars happen for like.
There's another one that's called
1,000 reasons.
Yeah.
Every war has 1,000 reasons, and these guys want to just boil it down to, well, the Jews are doing their satanic sacrifices, obviously, and that's how it happened. It's all magic, actually. It's all supernatural. It's like, no, actually, the world's a little bit more complex than that.
Remember, there was like the Reformed Jewish church or synagogue, Reformed Jewish synagogue, and they did some speech about how war was an offering to the gods, and they're like, look, they're doing it on purpose. She was like condemning war and compared it in the same way that it was like blood sacrifices or something like that. And the Christians she was condemning it. The war is bad, and they were spinning it out of context as if she was saying like that's what the Jews are doing. Remember, it was the same argument.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can find that.
I don't even think it's that crazy to like basically like insinuate that like, oh, children dying in war is like kind of like the idea is like very similar to the idea of child sacrifice.
They usually say it's abortion. Abortion is sacrifice.
Right. I get how they do those connections.
What is the significance of blood sacrifice? Why are they obsessed with it?
Because they knew the power of blood back then, and they were superstitious and came up with crazy things.
To them back then, they would have thought it's like, you know how we see oil today as this like kind of like, I mean, it's kind of crazy what oil is if everyone just like understands what it is and how it sits in the earth and how it gets created and all these other things. Blood would have been insane to them, because to them it would have been like this weird life force magical liquid essentially. So what we're dealing with is a people who had very superstitious views of the body and of the world at that time, and they're applying that type of superstition to the blood, right? And it makes total sense. Because
why would they offer sacrificial animals to imaginary gods? Because they saw the value in these animals. So it's like they're making a sacrifice, not having their animal that they could eat and milk, or, get the wool from it or whatever. And that they're instead giving it to their God, who, it makes sense. If people on earth value these animals, then God would, of course, value the animals. If we like the smell of the burning animals, then, of course, God finds the smell pleasant as well. So I think that's how
not just that, but like the people who are writing it and doing the sacrifices are like the same priest class that are writing the scriptures, right? So you're literally making like sacrifices to them, honestly, because they're the ones that are collecting the sacrifice. They're the ones that are getting the tithes and deciding what to do with it and living off of it and all those things, right? So in a way, it's like a class of people who are giving their own the justification for themselves, right? Like, why do we need a priest class to do all the sacrifices and pay them? Well, because that's how you make God happy, sort of thing. And that's the way the lore is, because they're the ones who wrote it. You know what I mean? So that's why they're so obsessed with it, is because the priest class themselves saw utility in this. And it makes sense why they did. This gives them political authority.
All right. Now, here's a viral one going around. Tucker says that he's not supporting the Republican Party
representing
anymore.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But
Don't know what I'm going to do. Man, everybody wants me to run. But we can't trust the Republicans and Democrats anymore, so maybe I should run. I wonder if Russia would support that. Here's RT sharing it. Is that not where this is going? Are we going to have a President Tucker? Is Tucker the dark horse? Is Tucker the Moshiach? What's going on here? The Armos?
I hope not.
What is going on here?
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? That's it's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, right. MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral, and it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is representing its own voters, its own citizens, its own nation, and they're not doing that. So no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out. I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance.
Dude, if Tucker just convinces all the Christians in Congress that the Schofield Bible is what made the Bible Jewish, then all of this then we could vote Republican again.
He's also totally he's such a fucking piece of shit. He is going to go and sit down on Daddy Vance's lap, and he is going to suck on that TD when he comes up and tries to do something, because there's no way he's going to break with Vance. I don't think. Their whole framing of this thing is that Vance might be the secret cool base guy that's trying to deal with what he has and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're already doing this. So I think that's where they're going to try to go with it, but we'll see. I don't know.
What brings you to this? A couple more clips I missed from the JNS conference the other day. Let's hear this dude.
What brings you to the JNS conference today specifically?
One, we got this infatuation with the Jewish people, and
at least it's a positive one.
There's a lot of other people. We want to be. There's so much we need to glean from you guys. We need to glean biblical content. We need to glean what's happening in our own, to make sense of who we are. What is our identity? What are we supposed to be doing right now?
Yeah, it looks like
And we're getting the download. Rabbi Malamed and Harper.
Dude, hold on, pause. What is our identity, he says? Think about this. We are in an identity crisis for our people. That is the whole problem. That is the root issue. We don't have confidence in ourselves and definition of who we are and what that means in the context of
spiritual Semites, bro. Come on. Hyperborean Israelites.
Dude, we don't know who we are in the year 2026, and what does it mean to be a white European person in this crazy fucked up world? That's kind of the root of our problem. And these motherfuckers come along and they say, "Oh, we got to learn more from you from our identity." So pathetic. And then we wonder why we're in.
Tell us about our history and our purpose, Jews, and give us morals, Jews.
Our forefathers worship demons as well. I don't know if you guys knew that, but we agree with you, actually, Rabbi.
Yeah. What is our identity? What are we supposed to be doing right now?
And we'll ask the Jews. What are we supposed to be doing, Jews?
We're getting the download. Rabbi Malamed and Harper has embraced us and taken us under his wing. And it's been an amazing journey that we're learning Bible.
We grabbed him by the zit,
which is crazy, but it's very exciting.
What brings you to the JNS?
This is what Christianity leads to.
Well, it makes sense. Jesus says the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you, but do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. That's Matthew 22:2-3. So that's what they're, or 23:2-3. That's what they're, even Jesus says to do this, right? Listen to what they're saying. They have good teachings,
The Bible inspired him to go to Israel and pick the grapes from the vineyards for the Jews, too. That's based. Prophecy fulfilled.
Well, we're live at the JNS conference, and I'm here with Tommy Waller, who's the founder of Hayovel and the Israel Guys. Such a pleasure to have you with us here at the conference.
Very, very nice to be here.
Yes, of course. Tell me more about what you guys are doing with Hayovel. We'll start with that, and then we'll get to the Israel Guys.
Right. Well, Hayovel started 23 years ago. Me showing up, never met an Orthodox Jew, showed up in a vineyard farming in Tennessee, showed up at a vineyard in Har Bracha, in Mount Gerizim, and met an Orthodox Jew for the first time. He read to me Jeremiah 31, prophecy about vineyards being planted on the mountains of Samaria. I'm touching it. I'm like, oh my gosh, God's doing something. And I asked him, I said, I'm not Jewish. I'd like to be a part of this. I'm a farmer. He said, we need help. It was 2004. It was the end of the Intifada. There was a lot of problems with help in that area. And we came. We were like the Beverly Hillbillies. We loaded up the family and moved up here and started helping. So it's been a great journey.
I understand.
Dude, unbelievable. The Jew shows him, hey, Goy, read this scripture. It says you're meant to be my slave and pick my grapes. And he's like, right away, Jew. Let me move my whole family there. God wants me to.
Oh, but they spit on Christians, though, Adam. Didn't you know that? Didn't you see all those clips of them spitting on Christians? That means they hate it and they want to destroy it. Didn't you know that? Come on, Adam. Haven't you seen that? Adam hasn't even seen those clips. Adam doesn't even know about that.
Yeah, Jews don't even believe the Torah. He's only they just let the Goy read it.
If we could just red pill this guy and what the Talmud says about Jesus, then he'd be on our side for sure, dude.
Yeah. Then he'd be an e-crusader.
Very large family.
Yes.
I'm told before this interview that you have just welcomed your 55th grandchild.
Yes.
So congratulations on that.
It's hard not to be proud of that,
Of course.
But 11 children. My wife and I are just, we're very blessed and thankful.
See, bless the Jews, and you will be blessed with 55 grandchildren.
But it's amazing.
And what do you guys do here in Israel? I mean, you talked a little bit about Hayovel, but I know the Israel guys also very active.
Right. Israel guys are...
Oh, I watched that channel.
For clips. Actually was just birthed for lack of information. And especially in the Christian community, we don't know what's going on here. We're on the ground. We're in the vineyards. We're helping farmers do their thing. We see what's happening here firsthand. And so talking about that from a news standpoint, what's really happening.
All right, that's enough. Too slow.
She is banned entry from the United States. She cannot use a bank card. She cannot use a debit card. She cannot receive a payment. It sends a message of deterrence, and after she was sanctioned, we got her husband, who works for the World Bank, who shares in her incitement. He was demoted from his position at the World Bank for incitement to hate. She is banned entry from the...
Dude, they just like Jews posting their W's.
We don't control the financial system, but if you say anything against us, we will. It's like tired at this point, isn't it? Insane. Like 10 years ago, that was like an interesting observation. Like it was transgressive, and now it's just like they do it so much. It's so much in your face that it's just like, we get it, dude. Like
that was the second clip. This is the first part. He says he blasts her for saying America is controlled by the Jewish lobby, and then brags about how they lobbied the government to sanction her, close her bank accounts, and wreck her life. That's crazy. It is the meme.
Francesca Albanese, the UN rapporteur on Palestine. As you know, I don't have to tell this audience, she has said that America is controlled by the Jewish lobby. On October 7th, she defended Hamas, said there's a context, and every 5 minutes on Twitter, she is echoing the worst blood libels against Israel. She is the leading purveyor of the genocide libel.
By blood libel, he means she's talking about Palestinian children being killed by Israeli missiles. That's what she means. They call it blood libel.
We are fighting back. We are fighting back. We have exposed her. We have exposed her hateful remarks. She is now the first UN rapporteur in history to have been condemned by France, Germany, Canada, the Netherlands, the UK, Argentina, Hungary, the US, and many other countries, Latvia, Estonia, many other countries. And each condemnation matters. And we led a campaign. We got 120,000 people, including many here, who signed our petition asking Secretary Rubio to take action when the UN failed to act. Secretary Rubio announced for the first time in history the U.S. would sanction a UN official on July 9th. For the first time in history, UN Rapporteur Francesca Albanese was sanctioned by the United States.
This is the lengths America goes to defend
Israel. To give in Harvard, Princeton, Georgetown, and Columbia. She is banned entry from the United States. She cannot use a bank card. She cannot use a debit card. She cannot receive a payment. And in her words, the sanctions are devastating. And as she says, horribile, horribile. Very good. Very good. It sends a message of deterrence.
Dude,
and
these guys
after
are
she was
tyrants.
sanctioned, we got her husband, who works for the World Bank, who shares in her incitement. He was demoted from his position at the World Bank for incitement to hate.
Any criticism they'll call incitement to hate. This is infuriating, dude.
And after she was sanctioned, the head of the Commission of Inquiry against Israel, Navi Pillay, resigned. We heard.
I can't hear anymore.
Dude, Fascist New World Order said something in the chat. I've been like looking it up and like reading about it while we've been going over these clips.
What was it?
It's that George H.W. Bush, his nickname in Skull and Bones was Magog, and it was because I knew it too. I forgot about it, and I wanted to, like, you know, everything I hear like this, I want to go back and double check. You know what I mean? Like that I hear in some schizo video back in the day or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went back through and double checked it, and it's actually crazy that they do know. Like, so just all this does is point to the fact that they do know this lore that we're talking about. The elites in this country, from going back as far as that and even earlier, I think even the founding of the country, that they did understand this like end times lore lens of like viewing the whole world. You know what I mean? Like, to say that these elites didn't is just naive.
$5.
Look, there's this too I've talked about before.
On children if you don't hate them? But no. It's resenting people who drop bombs on children for their own interests that are hateful.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember you covering this. Like I said, I've known this.
No, this is
I've known
different.
This before.
That was his nickname, was Gog or Magog or something like that. But there's also this claim that before launching the 2003 invasion of Iraq, that Bush reportedly told French president that Gog and Magog are at work in the Middle East. Bush allegedly used these biblical apocalyptic figures to argue that end times prophecies were unfolding and that God willed the confrontation. And Netanyahu was in Christian Zionist documentaries calling the war in Iraq Gog and Magog also.
And they were there's a book about this. I can't remember what the name. I'll look it up. There's a book about this where it shows that it's basically from like a shit liberal, like a leftist. And in the premise of the book is that they're arguing that basically like the Bushes were motivated by Christian eschatology and end times wars. And in that they have direct quotes from people where they're talking about, they were trying to line up biblical prophecies on operation dates and stuff like that. And that was back in the Iraq War. So the first Iraq War and the second Iraq War. So yeah, they've always been doing this.
Okay, Jewish News Syndicate editor Jonathan Tobin demands the GOP purge itself from Tucker, Candace, Nick, and Megyn
moral and political oblivion. In 2024, we also saw the flowering of a new version of an old disease on the right. While Republican office holders were overwhelmingly pro-Israel and friendly to the interests of the Jewish community, podcasters like Tucker Carlson and others like the even crazier Candace Owens and the neo-Nazi groiper Nick Fuentes were building new and large audiences of young people who had already been marinated in the Jew hatred enabled by left-wing educators. These right-wing Jew haters are little different from their counterparts on the left in their rejection of the Judeo-Christian heritage that is the foundation of American liberty and their embrace of anti-Zionism, which is indistinguishable from anti-Semitism. Indeed, Carlson's rants against Israel and the Jews are similar to the lies and the smears we hear from the likes of Zohar Mamdani and the New York Times. Still, they have been condemned and verbally cast out of Trump's MAGA movement by the president himself. And the GOP and Republican voters have punished right-wing anti-Semites. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't run for re-election and why Thomas Massie will be sent back to his Kentucky farm next January. They are still a minority on the right, but it would be irresponsible to deny that their influence is growing. And that is something that has become an even bigger problem since the murder of Charlie Kirk, who was a friend of Israel and the Jewish people. And when, at the gathering of his Turning Point USA group last December, the new anti-Semitism being mainstreamed by Carlson was debated, sadly, it was Vice President J.D. Vance who said that he would not choose between those who oppose Jew hatred like Ben Shapiro and those like Carlson who seek to normalize and mainstream it. At that point, it became apparent that his immoral neutrality on the issue was creating a crisis for American conservatism. And that crisis has only grown worse in the last 6 months, as some on the right have opposed the war on the anti-American Islamist terror regime in Iran and sought to falsely blame Israel, American Jews and even evangelical Christian supporters of Israel, for the participation of the United States in that war. Sadly, comments from the White House, and especially about Israel and the war in recent weeks, are not just irresponsible. They have only encouraged the loud and growing anti-Semitism of the right. And if, contrary to our hopes, the outcome of the talks with Iran and Switzerland and subsequent developments lead to the empowerment and enrichment of Iran again, the scapegoating of Israel in some quarters on the right will become an even larger problem. The choice faced now by conservatives isn't only what they think about the war to defend the West from the red-green alliance of Marxists and Islamists, or whether a new appeasement of Iran is a good idea. It's also about whether they will allow the disease of anti-Semitism to take root in their ranks. There should be no doubt that while anti-Semitism on the left is the greater problem today, a failure to confront, condemn, and anathematize those who are either openly
if anybody else said those in other
or those who
ways.
rationalize and defend them, like Megyn Kelly, will not just undermine the conservative coalition that won in 2024, it will also help the left's effort to destroy America and the West and aid those seeking to achieve Jewish genocide in Israel. American conservatives are fighting a battle for the soul of their movement that, sadly, American liberals may have already lost. The arguments in favor of this shocking trend seem to consist of a foolish desire for inclusion or, and here I am again referring to J.D. Vance, a refusal to condemn old friends and a willingness to insult and scapegoat Israeli allies. But if conservatives don't draw a line in the sand too, as William Buckley did in the 1960s and 90s, throw the anti-Semites and anti-Zionists out of their movement, the cost will not only be paid for by Jews. It will be paid by everyone who understands that the West is fighting for its life against these toxic ideologues. Given the fact that for all intents and purposes the left is paid for by Jews.
Dude, it's not letting me pause it. Hold on, 4:30. Hear that? If you don't save the Jews, the West will be lost. They always do that threat.
But if conservatives don't draw a line in the sand too, as William Buckley did in the 1960s and 90s, throw the anti-Semites and anti-Zionists out of their movement, the cost will not only be paid for by Jews. It will be paid by everyone who understands that the West is fighting for its life against these
the West will pay. There it is again.
Toxic ideologues. Given the fact that for all intents and purposes the left may have already become a lost cause when it comes to Jew hatred, this battle for the soul of American conservatism will become even more important in the years to come. That makes it all the more imperative that we not let our loyalty to friends or partisanship stop us from recognizing this problem and doing all that we can to consign Tucker and all of his friends and allies, be they on the internet, on podcasts, and even in high offices, to the moral and political oblivion they so richly deserve. Thank you.
I had it a little sped up, but he seemed to have like a lisp or something.
Dude, that's Moses Maxim. That's a genetic trait that they got, dude. That's just part of it.
A lot of pressure on J.D. Vance for his refusing to.
All the rabbi channels are doing the same thing too, by the way. They're all bringing up Trump, right? They're basically doing this thing where they're like blaming the. They're like, oh, Trump, he wouldn't betray us. He just has bad people around him, like that J.D. Vance. They're all doing this in some way.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Now we're about to put on our serious conspiracy caps here.
Oh, this is the best.
Watch some of these clips Amalek clipped up. This super based and red-pilled demon slayer, demon hunter, something like that.
Dude. This is what we need. This is how we stop.
The leader of the movement, Jake Shields, the leader of the opposition and the resistance.
Is this the first
intellectual thought leader, Jake Shields? What?
Is this the first clip? Can you just scroll down a little second? I just want to see if this is the clip that I think it is. Okay, no. All right. One of the first clips, you can just play this one in a second, but one of the clips has a reply, and you got to watch the beginning of the reply video too at some point.
Okay. Is it this one? In this clip, learns Freemasons built America.
Just scroll down and you'll see which one has
I don't see any multiple
I'll find
clips.
it. Don't
Let's start with this one.
The Freemasons hold the clown lodges. And so is Solomon, who...
You guys ready for the download? Are you guys ready for the real truth? Truthers, are you ready?
Is Solomon, who the Freemasons worship. He's the ringleader. And he wears the top hat, which the top hat is only the hat that the top Freemasons are allowed to wear, which is the top hat that you see the ringleader in the circus wearing. And what does the ringleader do? He controls the lion and the bears and the freak shows. Like he controls the Nephilim, just like Solomon controlled the Nephilim to build their structures.
Wait. Hold on. We went from circus to top hat to Freemason to controlling the Nephilim? Whoa, bro, this is heavy. Did you guys catch that?
And the freak shows, like he controls the Nephilim, just like Solomon controlled the Nephilim to build their structures.
Was there ever Nephilim that looked like jesters or no?
Yes,
Somewhere
100%.
I saw a quick little video saying that. Was that true?
Oh yeah. So my buddy Paul, you gotta talk to him, dude. Paul is like pretty awesome. He does a lot about this, about the clowns or Nephilim. And
clowns or Nephilim? Holy shit.
Now you know, dude. Now you guys get it. Do you guys understand? The reason that we're in this situation, guys, is because of demonic Jewish Nephilim clowns and Freemasons.
Dude.
They control the world.
The Simpsons show had a Freemason episode, and Krusty the Clown, who was Jewish, was a Freemason.
Oh, dude.
They revealed it all.
Simpsons knew. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Revelation of the method.
Always so creepy, and I just saw that and I go, "Whoa!"
Well, it is
There's
creepy.
the jester that comes in DMT, who's like the evil entity that can appear.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know where the jester is? Do you know who? They're like, okay, at hospitals, clowns go to hospitals. And did you know this? And in like children's hospitals, guess where the clowns all come from?
Kids are dying. They go to
synagogues.
Yeah, guess where they all come from though?
Where?
Synagogues.
They're Freemasons. The Freemasons hold the clown lodges. And
How
so-
dare they? How dare these evil Satanists dress up like friendly clowns and go and visit dying kids? How awful. I'm disgusted. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Freemasons. The Freemasons.
Scary
hold the
stuff,
clown-
guys. Very serious.
Uh-oh, Gypsy Crusader, confirmed Mason. Batman, made by a Jew.
True.
The Joker.
Sent $0
Heath
on,
Ledger,
so now they
ritual
have to disavow
sacrifice.
Gypsy Crusader lol.
Joker, obviously Nephilim.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Clown lodges. And so
Ronald
all of
McDonald was also a 33rd
Yep.
Freemason.
Why do you think they have a
Look
clown?
this stuff up, people, by the way, thing I'm saying.
Wait, hold on. Who is
They
a
all come from
333?
Where?
They're Freemasons. The Freemasons hold the clown lodges. And so
Ronald
all of
McDonald was also a 33rd
Yep.
Freemason.
Why do you think they have a
Look
clown?
this stuff up, people, by the way, thing I'm saying, because it seems crazy when I started looking up. I was just one of those like, what the fuck nights where I got insomnia up all night researching it.
And the clown, by the way, the slit on the eye represents the serpent seed, okay, because it's a serpent with the slit eyes. The mouth being painted red represents the giants that would eat the children, which are the Nephilim. The fallen angels are the clowns. We've characterized them into a clown. They have big feet and big pants representing that they used to be giants.
Because clowns are clearly evil. So the fact that they push those to kids, it's like how it's always been so weird to me.
Yep.
Everyone rightfully is scared of clowns. Right?
They're evil Nephilim.
guys,
Clowns are Jewish psyop to scare children.
Dude,
spirit, your heart
this
knows
is
something.
this is serious stuff, guys.
Dude, this is the real issues, dude. This is what. Why is
Remember,
nobody talking about this?
There's no such thing as low IQ anti-Semitism. No, low IQ anti-Semitism doesn't exist. And this right here, guys, this is actually somehow helping us bring up the issues about Zionism and helping fight it right here. This is what it's all about. And actually, if you countersignal this, you're basically a Zionist, actually.
I can see why we're too busy to talk about the Jesus deception. We have Nephilim giant clowns to expose.
Yeah, they can't have you on talking about Jesus when there's this important clown issue going on.
Right.
Oh, no.
They're like, here's the clown.
Yes.
Like, this thing's demonic.
Yep. And the white skin was because a lot of the giants were all reported as being white. They were pale.
Oh my God. White Nephilim, Nordic, Atlantean, Nephilim clowns. It all makes sense. Killer clowns from outer space. The big red nose represents
Jewish nose, obviously.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, Jewish nose. Okay. I'm with you.
And so all the giants, so they make the clown white, and then red nose represents the Jew nose. Surprise! Just
Called
so you
it.
know, that's what it comes from.
See, I can do this. I can do this too.
Yeah,
Maybe I should become an exorcist or a demon slayer.
Alabama yeoman sent $0 on. I went to Shriners in Philadelphia after I was paralyzed and went back multiple times until I was. Shriners are good people.
Damn, paralyzed. Shriners. Is that a Freemason? A type of Freemason? It is, right?
Yeah, that's the real truth behind what they're saying. That's the other thing, guys. This is the problem. There is like a whole history behind Freemasonry and like the way that they've influenced our culture and the way they've influenced things with like certain like weird esoteric occult ops and things like that. That's who he's talking about, like the true part of what he's talking about. As far as like it's basically what's going on is they set up this Freemason like charity, I guess is like the best way to describe it, and they use like going to like clowns and going to hospitals to like cheer kids up and things like that. It's not some demonic crazy thing talking about all this other nonsense that they have. They take like the authentic thing and they just turn it into this like schizo theory. It's ridiculous.
Hey, Eve, is it true that Freemasons are related to dressing up like clowns for kids? And what are the origins of the face-painted clown?
Listen, don't get me started on the clowns, man. That's not just some
sent
kiddie
$0
entertainment
on
crap.
clowns and
It's
jesters
deep,
have been around
ancient
since the-
symbolism tied straight to the Freemasons and their occult rituals. Those painted faces, they're not random. The origins go way back to ancient mystery schools, Egyptian priesthoods, and later, these secret societies that control everything from Hollywood to the Vatican. Clowns represent duality, happy on the outside, but hiding something sinister underneath.
Dude, he literally
Just like
says
how
that.
Freemasons
He
flash
says
their
that
hand
one of the
signs while pretending to be charitable builders. The white face paint, That's the death mask, bro. Symbolizes the veil between life and the
Bro.
underworld. Red lips and nose, blood rituals, and the sacred clown archetype used in chaos magic to lower your guard. Ever notice how clowns freak people out subconsciously?
Programming kids subconsciously. Wow. Okay, we missed the power chat too. Let's play that one more time. I think it had something to do with jesters.
The names sent $0 on clowns and jesters have been around since the ancient Greek times and all through the Middle Ages to the Renaissance and modern circus times in Europe, and Christ cucks hate European.
So, before the Freemasons, you're saying, before the Temple of Solomon that never existed, AI jumping the shark, that was Eve on conspiracy mode. Yeah, conspiracy mode is just like Christ cuck mode.
Okay, and like you start looking into it and you realize that's the emphasis on the big nose, the big red nose. It was emphasizing that these white, giant, crooked-nosed monsters that would eat people and traffic them and do terrible things.
On children.
Yes, yep.
Kind of like how dinosaurs, they push them on children because they know as an adult they couldn't convince you of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah,
but as a child, it's so ingrained.
Wait, are you telling me Jake doesn't believe in dinosaurs?
Isn't this
Dinosaurs
amazing?
are a conspiracy. Flat Earth, Tartaria, dinosaurs.
Dude, wait till you hear what he
Jesus.
says about dinosaurs. Dude,
Giants are the stumps, the giant tree stumps. Wow.
And in your mind that you're not going to, like, oh, that's fact.
Yeah, you're not going to question it. So you're going to be like, okay, that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. But that narrative was created by the Freemasons. They curated this narrative and they will put it in everything. And
so dragons real, dinosaurs fake, Genesis real, evolution fake. Wow. Dude,
Yeah,
this
it's just
is deep.
It's like they're basically taking like a true idea that they're like the Shriners, the Ringling Brothers, like all these groups that were doing circuses. They did have Freemasonic links. Okay, that is true, but that doesn't mean like, oh, the symbolism is that they're really the Nephilim baby eaters behind it all, and the Jewish nose, and all these other like lore things that they're adding to this. That is schizo thinking. Okay, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, Nephilim. Come on, dude.
What's really
how desperate are we to try to prove Jewish mysticism true?
Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. These people, they like, look, the way to best describe the Freemasons, I would say, like the Ferris way, like there's a lot of different types of Freemasons, and there's a whole like tradition going on there, is like Solomon enthusiasts, okay? Western Shabbos Goy Solomon enthusiasts in like a men's club, in like a way of networking and things like that. And they absolutely did worship and idealize the idea of the third temple being rebuilt and Solomon and all these other things and Solomon's wonders, right? And the only way to learn like Solomon's wonders and mysteries is through intense study from like the Jewish people, the Jewish perspective and things like that. So there were that was going on, and our elites were tied up in that. But to sit there and be like, oh, and that means the Jewish clown demons are real. Like this is taking a real problem, a real thing we could point to, and turning it into like a schizophrenic inducing like narrative. This next one is so funny.
Now I guess I'm for Jesus because I'm anti-clown. You know, we're all so lucky that YouTube hasn't banned this important, threatening information. This is the bottom of the rabbit hole. Okay, guys, fake dinosaurs, Nephilim clown theories. This is what's important. We have to get the word out. God bless Jake for getting the word out and spreading these important theories.
Have you ever thought about this circuit? These characters that they basically worship in Freemasonry, and they're from the Bible, but they like represent them as the pillars that they're the descendants of. Okay, and so they're like, these are our two main pillars. They also worship what's his name? The dude Solomon. They worship Solomon like heavily. So you'll see Solomon stuff in all kinds of things. And which, by the way, the Star of David, that's the seal of Solomon. That's the sigil of the devil. That's the seal.
I think that's kind of obvious to everyone now.
Yeah. But that's the seal that.
Oh yeah, it's obvious. That's the seal of the devil. Yeah, that's obvious. Actually,
that's why they do the pentagram.
Yeah. So it's like it's a way of.
I have heard that before, that it's the seal of Solomon, though. But the devil, like, isn't Solomon God's temple?
Yeah, it's a protective It's a protective, like mystical Jewish symbol that's supposed to protect them from demons, like Solomon did. Okay, that's basically what's going on there, and it's a later tradition that came in later in the medieval period, and it was associated with and given to them by the Holy Roman Emperor at the time, who basically like gave it to the Jews of Prague to like, oh, you guys can use this to represent yourselves, just like all the other people have their own heraldry. This can be the Jewish one, and you guys can use this star. And like it was mystical Jews came up with that symbol based on this same shared lore, okay, that you guys all have, not because they were like doing a nod to the devil or to Moloch or any of these other copes.
Yeah, I thought it was the Star of Renfam. Now it's the Seal of Solomon, or is it the same thing?
Channeling.
That's the same. They're saying it's the same thing.
entity
That's what they're
and
trying to say.
supposedly trapping it. And so you'll see that's why the star is on the United States like that. It's supposed to trap the spirit of the demonic spirit in Washington. That
how Kabbalistic. Oh, evil Edom Washington is satanic. We got to be destroyed by God, and we need Jesus because we're so satanic. Is this not Russia, Duganist, Kabbalist propaganda? How is it always the West is satanic and evil? Every time, that's what this goes back to. You know what? I just got to say it. There's no such thing. These guys are right. There's no such thing as low IQ anti-Semitism. Anybody that isn't on board with these theories that the guest on Jake's show have, you're working for the Jews.
Is a great X.
No, anybody that counter signals all of this base truth from Jake is working for the Jews or a crypto Jew themselves.
This is what politics is. We should have more of this in politics, guys. This is what we really want to be dealing with. We want to be dealing with the political ramifications of the Star of Renfam and the devil worshippers, guys, and the clown synagogues. That's what we really need to. We need to put this on the top priority above all the other priorities politically. We need to make sure we're talking about this one thing. And if anybody countersignals it, you guys are the problem. Infighting. Stop infighting, Adam.
Yeah. Stop gatekeeping the Nephilim clowns, Amalek. You stupid Jew.
That sigil is supposed to.
Trapped there. Well, also, I can see the owl could represent Lilith, the Jewish demon god of sacrifice.
Yep. Well, so Lilith's like this woman. They believe it was the original woman before Eve.
Was it?
Yeah, but it's a Jewish mysticism lore, but it is a demon. It's definitely a demon. Like, and it's connected to the owl.
He's literally getting it from the video game series Diablo.
I don't know what to make of that. Do you know what to make of that imagery?
Yeah, that's interesting. It looks like.
What to make of that.
Dude, we're truth debating so hard.
I mean,
it's
do
a little research into
it's
that.
Greek,
That
but
definitely means something for.
Hold on, the owl is related to Lilith. That doesn't make sense. Hold on.
He's showing him that's what he's saying, but also he's showing him a picture of the floor of Epstein's place or something like that, and trying to say, "Oh, isn't that weird? The symbolism." I've seen other people show this to me as evidence that things were going on, like witchcraft at Epstein's place. Meanwhile, like the part of the occult thing is that you idiots believe it, and like the elites who don't believe it and actually are like putting a play on it, and they're like showing how stupid you are in front of your face.
Well, it's true. Lilith related to an owl. Jewish folklore and in some early Mesopotamian traditions, Lilith is often associated with owls, although the connection is complex and debated. Hebrew word Lilith appears once in the Old Testament book of Isaiah. Translations render it as screech owl or night creature. Ancient Mesopotamian female spirits called Lilitu were associated with the night and wilderness. That's what influenced Jewish traditions.
They take like real things and then they like twist them into stupid shit. So like they'll say something like this that might be true. People can look into it and they're like, oh, the rest of what they're saying was true. Dude, like thinking that the Lilith is like a real demon, demonic entity is like literally just from the video game series Diablo. And like, I don't know, man, like that's what I feel like he's getting a lot of this lore from in his head. He thinks that the video game Diablo is real life. Like, and that's in like the Supernatural show. And like, this is just Jewish mysticism. He believes in Jewish mysticism, basically.
Yeah, he thinks it's all real. That's his whole thing is covering it and then affirming it as real and a real threat. So what's the answer? Jesus.
And pointing to the authors of it and the creators of it, those are the demons rather than they're the creators.
Right.
For sure. But I don't know what it means, but that definitely has meaning.
Yeah, no, the checkerboard floor, though, you'll see the white and black, and you'll see this, and it's a total Freemason thing, which, by the way, Have you ever thought about the circus? Like the circus is entirely Freemasonic. I don't know if you know this.
I've never thought of that. No.
Okay, the whole concept. It's called so Solomon had a ring that gave him the power to control demons. Okay, that had the seal of Solomon, which was that demonic sigil. That's the Satan sigil, and he was able to considered a demon master. And God supposedly gave him this ring, and he manipulated and controlled demons to build the temple and do all these things for him and build a bunch of stuff, which is why they're called Freemasons, because they are the free Masons. They had the free Masonic knowledge of building structures with demons that didn't cost them anything. They had the authority over these entities.
I think they're trying to rebuild the third temple, correct?
Yes.
That's what they're trying to do now.
So demonic. But anyways, yeah, it's totally connected to it. But so that's the Freemason
demonic
idea. And it comes from that concept that they were manipulating, controlling, and building things.
Dude, they want their temple because it's Yahweh's temple. It's Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, animal sacrifices, Yom Kippur, their rituals. It's for Yahweh. Why are we scapegoating demonic when it's all a Yahweh thing? Is it not Yahweh that's about building temples, and Jerusalem and Zion is his holy mountain, and he's the one that wants the sacrifices?
Yeah, and blood magic and demons and all of those things. Like that is part of your own lore, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they built our structure. They built your history. They've made up the story of George Washington, the cutting down a cherry tree. That's not a real story. That's fake. That's nonsense.
No, duh. Everybody knows that's fake.
Yeah. That's completely. And I got a video.
I trust everything Robert Maxwell wrote in his textbooks. People don't know Glenn Maxwell's father wrote your textbooks.
Wrote your history books. Yeah,
literally look it up.
Dude, I'm going to send you a video of the Freemasons showing us
as if he's the one who put that in there.
Okay, and you can play that for everybody to watch.
It's literally the United States is founded on mostly Freemasons. This is like factual, you know.
And they even talk about it. Wow. And they actually have a play, and during the play they laugh. They're laughing during the play that they're like, I'll never tell a lie, and the whole audience is laughing because the whole thing is a joke. That everything's a lie. Like everything about your history, about the United States, about its founding fathers, and all this stuff has been written by the hidden hand. It's been written by the Freemasons. They made it up. They control the demons. They control the world. They control the things, the narrative, and they've been trying to manipulate history to fit this narrative of Judaism and false doctrine and all this other nonsense.
Evolution,
all of it. Yes, all of it.
For all this stuff to be true, there would have to be a giant
evolution.
Did you hear that? They control the Satanist? Yeah, he's on an anti-evol. Dude, Jake, what do you love the Jewish Adam and Eve story of Genesis? You think that's true? I love how some completely science illiterate, like brain damaged UFC fighters like, oh, evolution's that's Jewish and satanic. Bruh. He said the founding fathers are controlling the Satanists. Our founding father, what is he saying? George Washington isn't real? He's like, the cherry tree story is fake, so all of our history is fake. Yeah, the Freemasons are in control of the demons. I did hear that.
Fathers and all this stuff has been written by the hidden hand. It's been written by the Freemasons. They made it up. They control the demons. They control the world. They control the things, the narrative, and they've been trying to manipulate history to fit this narrative of Judaism and false doctrine and all this other nonsense.
Evolution,
all of it. Yes, all of it.
For all this stuff to be true.
Yeah, they don't own the owl.
Yeah, my first thought was like it's related to Athena.
Yeah,
that was my
There would have to be a giant worldwide.
Well, I saw in the chat too that Lilith lore is from medieval times.
Secret society.
Yeah, it's later. It's like all that medieval type of mystical Zohar type Judaism.
That really bad painter in Germany kicked them out and shut down all the Freemason lodges.
Yes, that's exactly what he was going against.
Stalin, after he purged the Jewish leadership, he shut them all down.
Yep, and same with JFK. He said that the very order of secret society is repugnant in that speech. You know what I'm talking about?
Before he got shot?
Yeah. He said these secret societies that run our government today, and he said the very word secrecy is repugnant. Yeah.
The President of the United States openly comes in and says the world's being run by secret societies. They're covert, they're controlling, the media. He literally said that before getting shot. You guys look the speech up if you haven't already heard.
Showing me what victory looks.
This is victory? Yeah, this is how we win. Just call everything satanic and demonic and trust in Jesus, and then we win.
Right in front of your face.
Again,
yeah, and so he's talking about Israel and the Freemasons. He's talking about those two groups of people that are governing and controlling everything. And they're bringing about this false narrative doctrine to, I don't know, create false dichotomies of the end of the world, basically. And like the reality, though, is like when you think about what they're
controlling. Dude, you guys do that. That's what you are doing.
False dichotomies of the end of the world?
Dude, they're like, he's like, oh, they're promoting these false dichotomies at the end of the world as if like they created dispensationalism out of all this nonsense he's talking about, or as if like this idea that there's going to be this big end times war and the Jews are a part of it and Israel's part of it, as if like that's where they got it from. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. Dude, these people.
Yeah, and false dichotomy of an end times war. You mean like you saying everything's demonic and satanic and that the Bible's real, so Jesus is the solution? That's a false dichotomy that's all Jewish. Oh, fear-mongering and scaring everybody with Jewish boogeyman and Jewish ghost to get them to believe in the Bible and deny reality and evolution.
Like your media and everything is all Freemason. Even like the B-boys like would wear the one pant leg up. Do you know that was a Freemason thing?
No.
Yeah, so
I did look up the Hollywood studios though. They were all 33-degree Masons, MGM.
Yes.
Everyone was created by a 33rd-degree Mason.
Jimmy Kimmel's office is in a Freemason lodge. Do you know that?
I thought they were,
but look up the beginning of Hollywood people. The first directors, the guy, like every aspect of the beginning of Hollywood was free. Mostly Jewish, but all Freemasons.
Dude,
so Freemasons aren't all Jewish, but lots of it is Jewish control.
All right. Not so bad. I've seen worse.
In the replies of that one, hold on, before you exit out, that's the reply one. You got to watch the first 30 seconds in the replies there. This is what happened right after it. Oh, it's not. It's in the one that I posted.
It's this one. Here it is. This.
Oh, there we go. That's the ad read. Yeah. That's what I want.
Oh, we missed this. Dinosaurs or ostriches? Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yep. There we go.
Oh, 5 more minutes. Awesome. We're gonna get so.
Let's learn together, guys. Come on,
pilled.
everyone, just open your mind. Get ready for the information, dude.
Is Freemason.
Freemasons. Like for some
people think it's France. It's not France. It was Freemasons.
Conspiracies, because like for that to be true, there'd have to be this giant secret society running to make it happen.
And there is.
Exactly. That's once I saw that. Yeah. And so real quick. In Italy, they 1,000 of them got arrested. They had a shadow government. They're completely killing people, crashing banks. It's very rare they get arrested.
Thank you. $50. We're finally truth maxing on cloud pills. Let's fucking go hit the button.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a good fantasy, a good conspiratainment theory?
Yeah, like J. Edgar Hoover was a 33-degree, as long as with the head of the Jewish mafia at the time.
Dude, like
many of the NASA people.
Oh yes. NASA's very heavily Masonic. People don't know
Let's
this.
Go.
Every Hollywood studio.
Dude, they're you have to be part of. That's why there's. I think. They have so many aspects of their fingers that are tethered into stuff, and you got to ask yourself, like, why are they in all these things? Okay, like what is going on? Well, the reality is this. Our world and the history that we've been sold is complete bullcrap. It is nonsense. None of your
they found there's Freemasons everywhere, boys clubs. They found some link to NASA. So now space is a lie. The firmament's real. The Bible's real. Funny how every theory kind of tries to, it's the pipeline, conspiracy pipeline to Bible real, Bible paradigm, Jesus the answer.
Well, dude, they all have this idea that because the elites lie or because they quote unquote lied to you, that therefore everything must be a lie. And that's their starting point. That's their heuristic. That's how they look at the entire world. It is the most useless schizophrenic lens to view the world in. We have got to improve out of this. We've got to get away from this. We've got to remove that type of thinking from our gene pool. We got to get it away from tolerance in society. This type of thinking is disgusting to any rational person, and it should make you feel gross, dude.
You sound like such a normie, dude. Come on. You believe the Fed slop, normie? What do you trust the science?
Dude. If this is the way we're going to think, it's over. We're done, guys.
No, this is how we win. This is the most important issue of our day.
Real.
Except dinosaurs.
Except dinosaurs. Yeah, that is for dragons. They're dragons, bro.
Yeah, we're not getting that today.
No. Bro, they're dragons, I promise, though. Have you done this? Have you ever looked at an ostrich skeleton?
I don't want to get an off tangent, but the whole thing was just forgeries, and it was
yeah. But there's parts of it that are basically
there were some bones, there were pieces and big bones,
and a lot of them are Nephilim bones or giant bones that have been mistaken. But there's if you look at a T-Rex skeleton with his teeny little arms, look at an ostrich skeleton, they also have those teeny little arms, and it's dude, there's so much connection to it. But they're basically dragons that have been misconstrued over time in history and stuff, and made up stuff and whatever. Anyways,
ostriches are dragons, dude. That's where we're at.
No, he said ostriches are like T-Rex. They have little hands.
Yeah. And then he's saying that dinosaur. Yeah, right. And then he said what he's saying is that dinosaurs are dragons, and an ostrich is a dinosaur. So he's saying ostriches are dragons.
These clowns need to get lobotomized for their own. They can't question their beliefs if they can't think for themselves.
Dude, seriously. Dude, imagine if we just did 10 generations of not putting up with these people and allowing them to breed. How amazing humanity would be. We would basically be like what the gods in Greek mythology were, just straight up. We would be super intelligent and super away from this. Get me the fuck away from this, please. But yeah, that's what he's saying. Hold on, do you understand?
This guy is a scholar and a serious academic, dude. What are you talking about?
Ostriches are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are dragons. Do you understand? So ostriches are dragons. That is the logic going on right now.
Yeah.
Little arms.
And that
Look at
a lot of the bones are Nephilim bones that they're finding, not actual dinosaur bones.
Yeah. Everybody was Christian and they would love to have dragons confirmed in the Bible be in giants confirmed, but then everybody covered it up. All the people running the world, they don't want you to believe the Bible, so they cover it up that we're on a flat earth in the center of the realm and there's dragons are real and giants existed, all to hide the Bible from you. Meanwhile, the Bible's the number one most printed book of all time, and half the world believes it.
Dude, Yahweh is a dragon.
Yeah, true.
Skeleton. They also have those teeny little arms. And it's like, dude, there's so much connection to it, but they're basically dragons that have been misconstrued over time in history and stuff, and like made up stuff and whatever. Anyways, but like a lot of our history is just nonsense, complete nonsense, but who's been crafting that nonsense?
Yeah,
the Freemasons are calling themselves the Freemasons because they've been crafting the nonsense.
Yeah,
so
our history's nonsense, but the Bible's all real. We're not exposing the Torah as fake. History's fake. It's the Bible's the real. They should just teach the Bible in the book of Enoch and Genesis in schools. If we had an idiocracy led by these people, that's what we would have.
Dude, dude, that would be a funny AI video. Is like a teacher in a school that's ran by these people where like some crazy dude, actually just Mr. Garrison goes up there and teaches, all right, today we're going to learn about the lizard people, and everyone knows the lizard people. They're related to the Aryan 6 foot tall, 10 foot tall Aryan aliens, and then there's the Greys, and as you guys all know, the Freemasons and the clown synagogues. Like, dude, that's literally what they are. Our country would be ran to the ground if these people ever came to power.
Mason book of like all the events of history that they've had their hidden hand. It's called the hidden hand. You ever seen this?
Yeah.
This stuff? Okay, if they do that, that means we are where they like George Washington does this.
Yeah, George Washington was a 33-degree Mason.
Bro,
this is all stuff you guys can look on Wikipedia. Everything we're saying right now. This is not like conspiratorial stuff.
The hidden hand is a Freemason thing where they put the hand under the jacket or whatever. What they're saying essentially is we are controlling this thing. And so you'll know that, or it's made up.
They're showing you the hidden hand.
They're showing you that we're the ones in control of it. That's all it is. So
that's
and
why they always do this.
If you ever see a
guy who did the Statue of Liberty had a picture. I found a picture of him doing that too.
If you ever see that, that means that this event has been curated by the Freemasons. That means it's not real.
The founding fathers, where lots of them were Masons of the United States.
Like 90% or something, 80% of all of our presidents have been Freemasons.
And the way DC is laid out is
it's totally occultic. But you know who laid it out? Thomas Jefferson. It actually says it on the Library of Congress.
He's also a Freemason.
Yes,
I remember watching a movie. It was like the new Atlantis or something. Old conspiracy documentaries about all the layout of DC and how they're all Masons and Federal Reserve and stuff. This is all like conspiracy 101 from 30, 40 years ago.
LibraryOfCongress.gov. It literally says, and type in Library of Congress.
There's truth to some of it, but the rabbis all believe in this stuff, and Adam King believes in this stuff. All of the the Jewish perspective is that they believe in some version of all of this. Just so you guys know.
Yeah. So what are we getting at here too? So that America is satanic, Freemason, Nephilim, demons, and so we're not America first. We're rooting against America? Is that the takeaway? If America is satanic and evil, are we rooting against it? Do we want it to be destroyed? Isn't that kind of like the logical conclusion to some of this narrative?
Yeah.
It'll literally say the rounded rotunda on the White House was curated by Thomas Jefferson to pay homage to the pagan gods.
Yeah, because these are aligned with the star.
Oh, oy vey. Oy vey, the pagan gods. That sounds based. Is that even true?
Or not, but not many things are aligned with the stars today, but that is.
Kvetching about pagan gods is Jewish coded, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's one of the few things it is.
They try to do things like that symbolically, and they do like rituals with the obelisk and everything. Like that's symbolic, and like the obelisk is a homage to a phallic symbol, which is tethered to the understanding of Isis, Osiris, and Seth. So actually, like the White House rounded part is actually representative of Osiris, who who's in love with Isis, and Seth is jealous, and basically Seth tries to kill his brother The brother's Isis, I think. I forget. I get Isis and Osiris messed up. Tries to kill his brother, and he cuts him. And so the woman, the woman, Osiris or Isis is the woman. Isis gives Osiris.
There's actually
a
good.
Jedi, which is a pillar
I can't remember the name of it right now. There's a good scholar for the Old Testament who believes that Esau versus Jacob is a retelling of this.
Eru said
I've heard of that.
$5. The logical conclusion: this Jesus hates smart people. We should remove our brains for Jesus.
Makes sense to me. Checks out. Where does Jake find him? Jake gets all of his information from TikToks and memes. So this is popular stuff. This is the slop that gets promoted in the algorithm to all the useful idiot, low IQ masses of goyim out there, pushed
Instagram,
by
TikTok.
Jewish Rand TikTok and Instagram.
No longer than 60 seconds because that would be too much, right? Stuff like that.
The crazier, the better.
You're gonna start
like
lightsabers. Okay, Seth, the Sith. This is where this comes from. And so the pillar of light is called the Jedi that stays lit forever. That protects Osiris from being murdered by his brother Seth or Sith. And so you'll see this symbolism in everything. And that's what the obelisk, he still kills him, cuts him to a million pieces, and the only piece he doesn't, she finds all her dead, dismembered parts, but can't find his penis. That's literally what it is. And so the obelisk is the penis erected.
Yeah, I think
that is supposed to impregnate.
Or maybe I'll get a picture of put it in these so people can see how it's laid out. It is the numbers of like sixes and stuff.
Oh yeah, the obelisk is 666 inches or 6,660 inches tall, and it's 666 by 666 by 666 on all sides. And you got to ask yourself, like, where's this coming from? Like the symbolism is in everything. It's in everything. It's embedded into the streets. Look down on where the obelisk.
Definitely
is
don't talk about anything anti-Zionism. Just let's talk about this.
Everywhere.
And owls. Yep, so an owl, a pyramid, and a star of the occultic sigil. It's a sigil of Satan, but it's a star in the roads. And so, like, wherever you see pyramids, by the way,
on the dollar bill.
Yes, on the dollar bill, and they never change the dollar bill. Isn't that funny? They change all the other bills, but the dollar bill they keep. You want to know why? Because the pyramid and the dollar bill. Actually, the pyramid. If you ever see a pyramid, it represents human sacrifice. Every time.
Wow, I guess that's when my Aztecs and the Mayas, they sacrifice on pyramids.
That's what it is. But people don't know, but they were sacrificing people in Egyptian pyramids too at that same spot. Everywhere there is pyramids in the world, we were sacrificing humans. So that's why you see Jay-Z do the triangle thing.
Yeah, what is that the same thing?
Jay-Z sacrifices humans?
They're essentially saying.
I've literally heard Chabad rabbis say what he just said about all of the pyramids in the world were places of human sacrifices against Hashem. That's what he says. Yeah. He's answering the question because I had looked it up before. Like, why does the Bible never mention
sacrifice? That's the boogeyman in all the Jewish stories.
I was trying to find like the reason why the pyramids are never mentioned in the Old Testament, and I found like a rabbi's lecture on it, and that's what he argues essentially, that's the reason it's kept out. Because why would you put in something that's only purpose or its main purpose was child sacrifice to the demonic gods and to demons? And he said that all of the pyramids throughout the world that we ever find, China, in North America, Central America, all throughout the world, all of these great mounds, these burial mounds, their purpose was child sacrifices. All the pagans, they would decide if a child was worthy or not to survive, and they would throw them on these burial mounds or throw them off these things. So that is like directly from the rabbis, like a Chabad rabbi, 100%. This is their view. So now it's getting promoted. It's just everywhere, all over the timeline, all over everywhere.
How many inches is the Washington Monument? 555 feet and 5 1/8 inch. In inches, 6,665.125. So it's not 666. Okay, if you round up, it's 666. What else did he say? How many inches is it across? So they're doing inches.
But this is how builders and those kinds of monuments do this. Like, they do put those symbolism things in, but he's just wrong about what the symbolism is. They do put in what I would call, you could call it like sacred geometry and things like that. They're taking like mystical principles and mystical ideas and sort of like dog whistles that you'd have to know what the initiated code language is to understand what they're doing. And they do hide them and put them in like in buildings like that. The architects are part of these, like in the 1800s, 1900s. They're all part of these like occult style secret societies. But guys, they're not. The magic isn't real. It's what rich people did to LARP back then. And in today's times, what do they do to LARP now? They do, the crazy shit we see on reality TV and all the other crazy shit we see like celebrities doing today. That's what celebrities and rich people do with their time. Back then, they were all like in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s. They were all into this like fake occultism. Is like, I mean, that's the best way I could describe it. They're all into this stuff and the symbolism and the numbers and pretending that they're in some mystery cult that goes back 2,000 years. That's what everyone in the Western world was doing during the 17, 18, and 1900s. So can we just like see that for what it is? That it was just like a fad. It was like a cool way for rich people to LARP and stop pretending like there's real magic in it, because it's ridiculous.
666 is a multiple 3. Let's hear this claim one more time.
Or maybe I'll get a picture of put it in D so people can see how it's laid out. It is the numbers of like sixes and stuff.
Oh yeah, the obelisk is 666 inches or 6,660 inches tall, and it's 666 by 666 by 666 on all sides.
Oh, that's not the right one. Sorry, this one. This says that it's 55 feet across at the base, which is 660 inches, so not 666. So he bullshitted there.
Dude, that guy that someone in the chat said Jimmy Page started heaps of this. Yeah, dude, Jimmy Page does this, and Neil always rips into him over this. This is very stupid stuff. What it is it's taking that kind of like this elite occultic tradition that was like always them memeing around, and it's like the peasants have learned about it because of the internet, and they're believing it's real, which was basically the whole point back then. Like that's what these guys are doing. If you're a member of the elite and you're like smarter than everybody else, and everyone's basically like an idiot, like they are today. Like trolling them with these types of symbols and things like this is what they did. This is what they did back then. This is what they've been doing for a while. That doesn't mean it's real magic. Grow up.
Or I don't think they're trying to do 666s in this anyway. It's 66.
In this case, it's not. Right, but what I'm saying is
this one, it's 6655 or 6665. It's not actually 666s.
I'm just saying they do apply numerology to architecture. Oh, that's all I'm saying. They do.
Sure,
that
but
is a
it
true
doesn't
thing.
look like that's the case in this situation.
Correct.
Because it's
I don't think so
actual 666s. And we're not denying that there are a bunch of Freemasons and that they would do like sacred geometry stuff in their architecture. But this apparently, this being secret Satanism doesn't check out. Sorry.
And you got to ask yourself, like, where's this coming from? Like the symbolism is in everything. It's in everything.
Evil
it's embedded
rounds
into the
up.
streets. Look down on where the obelisk is at, and there is a pyramid, and there's an owl on top of
Pyramids
it.
everywhere,
and
owls.
Yep, an owl and a pyramid, and a star of the occultic sigil. It's a sigil of Satan, but it's a star in the roads. And so, like wherever you see pyramids, by the way,
on the dollar bill.
Yes, on the dollar
I
bill.
know
They
Robert
never change the
Flint
dollar bill.
stuff.
Isn't that
It's on pyramids.
That's
What is this? Is that the same thing when
it's
the
the
guys
same
do
thing.
this?
They're saying you're the sacrifice. They're essentially saying you're the sacrifice.
Yeah, and he says he's in a lot.
Oh yeah, there's a photo of him.
In the Epstein files, there's an accusation at the
You're
time.
the
you laugh at it, but
sacrifice.
looking back, it's not so funny. It's like him, Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, and someone else. A girl woke up and was raped by them. Imagine how crazy that would sound. But then you look back and you're like, wow.
That's real. Yeah. And so like that symbolism's there for all these things. And the New Age tries to adapt the pyramid like it's some kind of energy vortex that is healing you. They have no clue that it's actually it is a satanic, demonic center for trafficking or channeling demons for human sacrifice. That's literally what it was always used for.
Well, 100%. 100% wasn't in the Americas. The pyramids were 100% always used for sacrifice. This is
we know that.
well documented
We know it
history.
very well.
So I remember reading those old stories of how they marched about the pyramids and like thousands of deaths.
I don't know about this. Were the Egyptians sacrificing people
I don't
on
think there's
top
good
of
evidence
their
for
pyramids?
I don't know how
I know
much-
the Mexicans in the Latin America was.
Yeah, but that's true, and we have good archaeological evidence for it. And for a while, people thought it was not true, and then they found a bunch of like skulls, I think, at the base of some of these like Central American pyramids. But originally, it was based on like firsthand accounts that are clearly exaggerating. By the way, guys. So again, we should just be realistic about like what those things mean. And just because a primitive tribalistic society that's like literally based on like a religion of capturing slaves and then sacrificing them, like the fact that they're doing that isn't demonic. It's just primitive. That's what that is. Everyone can understand that. And it's like the same type of like Bronze or Iron Age tribal societies that Judaism itself developed from. or developed out of.
Eve, is there any evidence that the Egyptians were sacrificing people on the top of their pyramids?
Davin now sent $5. These
They
people
won't.
will not survive after that.
No,
Hopefully they'll
there's
reply
no
to that clip,
archaeological
too.
evidence that ancient Egyptians sacrificed people on top of their pyramids. That idea often gets mixed up with Mesoamerican cultures like the Maya or Aztecs, who did perform sacrifices on pyramid temples. In Egypt, human sacrifice was extremely rare and limited mostly to retainer sacrifices in the very early First Dynasty, servants buried with pharaohs to serve them in the afterlife. Those happened at ground-level tombs in places like Abydos, not on pyramid tops, and the practice died out quickly. Pyramid complexes had temples for offerings and rituals, but those involved food, incense, or animal sacrifices, not humans.
Well, funny how when you go fact check so many of these things, they turn out to not be backed up. All right, now here's the reply. Also, this is what happens right after this cut, this ad read, and then whatever the hell type of content you call this. Let's see.
Hill Publishing. Hey guys, I'm demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support me and the podcast, go to fightbackpodcast.com.
Water sent $12. Ye seems like he's making up numbers, and I can remember that crazy guy on Rogan from a while ago that said dinosaur bones are fake, almost fell for these shekels were promised to you years ago.
Yes, they were. Thank you, waiter.
And you can buy some cool merch, like the shirt I'm wearing now.
Oh, Alabama. It may have eroded a ½ inch. 3 is seen as sacred or perfect geometry. Yeah, that's true.
Hey guys, I want to introduce you to one of our sponsors, Antelope Hill Publishing. Antelope Hill publishes books such as Culture of Critique by Dr. Kevin
You see
McDonald,
this?
someone I've interviewed on my show. He talks about the evolutionary strategy of the chosen people. So go to antelopehillpublishing.com and use promo code FIGHTBACK to support the podcast and get a discount. That's antelopehillpublishing.com and promo code FIGHTBACK.
So that's
But they weren't killing
Okay, so
people for
real
fun
quick, guys, does everyone understand that that is the sponsor for this? So how is that helping? If our message is, hey, we have this really serious, like PhD, he's got this book called Culture of Critique, and it explains the evolutionary strategy of Jews, and it can be applied to the political realm, and we need people to read it and understand how Jewish power operates. Okay, that's like the point of people reading that book. How does promoting it to clown, synagogue of Satan, Nephilim, demon child like sacrifices, how does this help that? It is advertising it to the lowest of the low, the stupidest of the stupid, the most worthless people in existence. Okay, that is who it's organizing around. So if that's the recruiting pool we're going for, then it's already over. We've already lost. Okay, we have to get smart people on board with this. We have to get intelligent, wealthy people on board with this. Okay, we have to get people that have actual influence and actual brains in their head. Getting a bunch of
and serious people.
Yeah, getting a bunch of actual retarded peasants who cannot read and believe in clown demons as the origin of all that's evil in the world,
and dragons.
Getting them together to do anything is automatically a failure. There has never been a successful peasant revolution in the history of the world. Okay? It will never, ever happen. So the only way is not by doing this stupid shit and like letting this happen. We need to get away from this stuff. We should not be promoting it. So I agree with a lot of the books. I like the books that they publish at that place. But why the fuck are we promoting, because Jake Shields is on sides? Oh, we don't counter signal Jake Shields. We're going to throw away friendships and bitch and cry because Jake Shields is getting attacked and we have to defend our boy? Dude, he is promoting bullshit for retards and associating these ideas with retardation in a way that ensures absolute 100% failure rate. There's never been a time that this has won as a strategy. So move on. It's done.
You just sound like you need Aryan Jesus, dude. He flipped the tables.
He did do that.
The Bible's real. Repent.
The rest of this is boring. You don't have to watch that. I just wanted to show the beginning
Just
there.
that part. Okay, I got you. Charlie Kirk microphone update. Oh wow, we're 2.5 hours. I got to roll soon. I got some family things to do.
Is he cooking? Yes or no? I keep texting his team. They're not responding.
I don't want to watch Sneeko right now. I need to get the sound effects for Sneeko. All right, here we go. Sam Parker breakdown, 8,000 likes. The Candace, 5 minutes of lapel mic.
Dude, I can't do it. I'm down, but I also can't do it. These people are crazy.
I want you to watch Charlie get rigged up at the road wireless.
Okay, let's see.
Charlie started using not just his handheld, but also a wireless microphone on top of it.
So first, I want you to watch Charlie get rigged up at the Rode wireless microphone by Philip Goldsberry. That's what's going on right here. That's what he's clipping onto Charlie's shirt. Then I'm going to explain to you what the functionalities of the Rode Wireless Pro microphone are, and I'm going to prove to you that it is a Rode Wireless Pro model microphone. And then I'm going to explain to you what kind of data we should expect to be able to retrieve. Let's get into it. So here we're just seeing Philip Goldsberry clip it onto Charlie's shirt. Here's a few moments beforehand. We can see Philip Goldsberry has the Rode Wireless Pro microphone in his hand, and he's approaching Charlie with it.
Handsome Truth sent $5.
Here's another.
Mic magnet goes right in the watch it frame by. Not joking.
We're watching it. I got a Rode mic right here too, the same one, I'm pretty sure. Maybe mine is gonna blow.
Angle, you can see him holding the Rode Wireless Pro microphone in his hand, talking to, it looks like Terrell Farnsworth. There it is in his right hand. You see that? That's the Rode Wireless Pro microphone.
There's the murder weapon.
Now we're going to see Philip Goldsberry sneak from behind Frank Turek there, and you can see the lapel magnet and the microphone transmitter in his hand. See that? Transmitter in one hand, lapel magnet in the other. Then I want you to see the dual charging storage cases or docking stations. This is how we know it's the Rode Wireless Pro microphone, because it comes with the dual charging cases and docking stations.
There are also magnetic clips so that you can hide these behind your shirt or something like that. And all you'll see is just like a little magnet.
Okay,
and here you can see that Philip Goldsberry secured it under Charlie's shirt next to the necklace.
32-bit float audio basically gives you a huge range of flexibility. The idea behind 32-bit float audio is that you have this massive dynamic range to work with. So whether you speak very softly or you're screaming into the microphone, it doesn't really matter. It's going to catch that entire dynamic range without distorting, and it's going to give you full control once you go to put your audio and video together and mix everything down. 32-bit is also extremely high resolution in that it's got a lot of audio information to it, so you're enabled to get great sound from something like 32-bit audio. And I got to tell you, the first time that we heard the audio from one of our recordings that we shot here in the studio, we were blown away. And this was hearing the audio out of
oh my
laptop
God, we got
speakers,
the point. What is
right?
he?
We hadn't put in headphones or anything yet. Is to say, always to your camera recording on your be on. Like I said,
and grooms, no stopping it once you pull it out of the case. If you do press the record button on the transmitter, it'll simply make a cut and start a new audio track.
So unless he arguing that it should be recording, so we need the recording
audio files after production, and they're just always charging. You don't have to think about it. That's probably the best part of this.
So that's right, friends. Unless that microphone was destroyed, unless it exploded or was ruined or broken in some way, it picked up everything that was happening that you see here. All the whispers, all the mutters, everything that was said, everything that happened. That little transmitter recorded it.
Yeah, exactly. He got hit on the neck right here. The transmitter was over here. It wouldn't have gone around his body and hit this in this direction.
It all.
And those recordings, those files should be on the device itself. And then it should be downloadable onto the computer. So we should ask for those sound files. Does TPUSA have those sound files?
Oh my God! You think you're still asking for evidence? They'll give it to you, and you'll say it's fake, or you'll just come up with another theory. Come on.
In what court cases where there's a public assassination is every single piece of evidence and audio evidence given to the public before the trial? Which one? Name one, please. Oh, none of them? Shut up then, bitch. You retard. Are you fucking stupid? Oh, we should ask for evidence before the trial.
Philip Goldsberry have the sound files, and the only way to get that microphone to stop recording is to send it a signal from the computer. And everybody ran from the computer after that shot, and then they carried Charlie off. That means
because that's what they're trying to do. Oh, quick, we have to cover up the audio. Quick, run to the computer. Turn the mic off so they can't record us talking about how it's fake and we actually just killed. Dude, you are an idiot. Yeah. You should have no rights. What does he think
they're whispering to each other? Oh, we got him. Oh, it worked. Oh, they're gonna buy it. Oh,
dude, I hate these people.
Like all of Charlie's best friends.
It's literally starting from the premise that because they, quote unquote, they lie, that therefore everything has a lie to it. Now our job is to reverse engineer what are they lying about. That is where this comes from. It is schizophrenic thinking for retards. Holy shit, he is an idiot, dude.
Watch it frame by frame. Mike Magnet goes right in the neck.
Dude.
Doesn't go in his neck, dude. No way.
Definitely. All the way to the hospital even. Where's those recordings? How come we haven't heard them? Do they still exist? If they don't exist, or if TPOSA won't or cannot provide them, that's powerful evidence that that microphone was destroyed or was not recording in the first place.
No. Oh my gosh. 8,000 likes for this.
Charlie started using not just...
Dude, it didn't even show. I thought we were going to get microphone explosion theory. That's not even, I think that's what HT's talking about. That's not even on here.
Yeah.
Dude, these people are seriously.
So what is he saying? Because they haven't released the audio, it probably fell off too. If the magnet flew off, the microphone probably flew off and was right there and wasn't in the van or wherever they tried to drive him off to the hospital.
Even if they have audio of the whole
likes
ride.
for that.
It doesn't change anything. If they have the audio the whole time and they had it the entire way in the ambulance and everything else, and it was attached the whole time, they had the recording for it. Why would they release that to the public in any circumstances before the court case? That literally taints evidence. That's like that is the primary way court cases are done. Is they collect the evidence, they keep it to themselves, and then the defense and the prosecutor talk about and the judge talk about what evidence is going to be shown at the trial. You fucking retards.
Yeah, just like the Carmelo Anthony trial just ended, and then we got all the body cam and the security footage and the 9/11 recording, right?
Dude, when that stuff comes out for this Tyler Robinson case, these people are not going to accept a single piece of evidence. They are going to quadruple down on this stupid shit.
So Jimmy Dore says, we will never hear up.
Handsome Truth sent $5 broken mic plastic all over the sport utility vehicle that drove him to. You guys are watching some random TikTok clip and not looking at the telling you watch the magnet on the shirt go straight into his.
How does it go from here to straight into the neck? If anything, from here, it could only clip the side of the neck. It went
the magnet.
He got hit deep from this direction in. It can't blow up and come around and come in the front.
I don't even know if he wants to share like a clip that we can watch frame by frame. Fine, but I don't know. I've looked at this magnet theory stuff where it was like a super powered magnet that they used to like what is that called? Like railgun through him or something like that. I've seen some of these videos and some of these clips. All that is if you ever had one of those mics attached to your shirt, it's good. It's like pretty good on you. But if you were to like get in like a wrestling or try to tackle somebody, the magnet is not that secure between the shirt. So when he got shot, the force of that disconnected from the microphone and the magnet flew up there like that. That's all it is. It's not some crazy physics or anything like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't some like railgun meme or a railgun magnet going through his neck. None of that stuff. It's literally just that in the same way if you were wearing that microphone with the magnet and you were doing like sports and you got tackled and the magnet would fly out of your shirt or move up there like that, that's what happened. He got shot in the collarbone or in the neck. That force was enough.
Look at Jimmy Dore now. Look at this, 12,000 likes. We will never hear the recording on Charlie Kirk's mic because it was most likely used to kill him using PETN explosives. This is why this t-shirt puffed up like something blew up under it. Not because a 30-06 bullet hit his neck and never exited. It's why they paved over the crime scene 2 days later and had the Why would they need to pave over the crime scene if it was an exploding lapel mic? I don't get that. And had the SUV that transported him to the furthest hospital possible was steam cleaned and immediately sold instead of being preserved as evidence. Steam cleaned? What is it, fake? Why would they need to clean? What does that prove? They cleaned the van? What is that going to prove? What evidence are they going to find in the van of his blood?
These people get all their information on how court cases should be from movies and television. It's just straight up. But like, And then they think that they're literally like experts on this, like they're in the CSI or whatever. It's so stupid. Okay, here we go. Is this it? Oh, I've watched this footage 10,000 times.
Guys, if you get hit with a bullet, it's gonna be wind resistance, and it's going the speed of sound. There's gonna be I forget what it's called, like a blast wave. So if I have something right here, how could it possibly explode and go straight towards the neck? The best you could get is like, a graze on the side of the neck. Something hit him and went in the neck and into his body. Okay, it didn't. Can we not agree? How are these guys so silly? And then all that blood from just a little graze right here? Come on. And the trial hasn't even happened. There's going to be autopsy reports. There's going to be.
I just don't get,
much stuff.
Dude. Oh, there's so little to go on, and these people are they think it's like the key to winning. Like if we could just convince everybody that Kirk was killed by the Jews, that then we win. And it's just never going to happen. This is like a most, even if it was true, it would be the most politically useless thing to ever truther on ever. It's more useful to say that the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting was fake, and like all the stuff about that.
Yeah.
That is literally more politically useful than this. Yes, yeah, and it has more basis.
Yeah, I remember Sam did some other video where it was like zooming in. He's like, look, somebody's looking on a phone. Is he looking at the drone link? Was he taken out by a drone? Like, just why hasn't TPUSA released further audio from after Charlie was killed in order to make us all look stupid and discredit us? Seems like an easy dunk. Yeah, I'm sure they're just super eager to let out the audio of them like crying about Charlie getting killed. Just to the
person
public,
that just said go
because
shoot,
that'll stop all the conspiracy theorists. I'm sure you would give it up once they gave you that evidence.
Dude, people that are saying that, go shoot a 30-06. It's like a loud cannon. It's crazier, like a shotgun. Dude, they're cannons, dude. Okay, I have shot that weapon. I've shot it plenty of times, okay? And if you know anything about ballistics, this is the one thing you need to know. That the way it is it's like it's a procedurally generated percentage game, okay? When a bullet comes in contact with something, there's a 10% chance it'll do this, a 10% chance it'll do that, a 10% chance it'll do that. And that is split by the round and all the factors associated with the physics, the rational laws of nature in the world. And the idea that because a 30-06 goes boom, boom when you shoot the gun, very loud, very big bang, that therefore that translates to the bullet could not have left or the bullet couldn't have exploded in his body or couldn't have left his body. It would have punched a Pepsi can side stall right through his head. Just saying that shows you don't know anything about ballistics at all. You don't know anything about guns or bullets. You don't know how that ammo was stored. You don't know if it was what was it called? A fungible round, or what was that called?
Hollow point.
Hollow point, or there's the types of rounds where frangible, I think is what it's called. The types of rounds that are used in like indoor shooting ranges that are basically made to crumble on impact. Dude, you guys are saying that, it was a 30-06 and therefore we know it's not true because the damage would have been so crazy. You're clueless on this topic. You are wrong. Any ballistics expert who says that, who's saying that right now is a charlatan. They're lying to you. They're going to go over this in the court case too. It's going to be incredible. They're going to do the whole ballistics, showing how the bullet leaves the barrel, what angle it hits at, all of this shit. These people are they don't know what they're talking about. You're not ballistics experts.
And when it gets proven wrong, they'll never admit it. They'll double down. They'll in the chutzpah of them to claim, because we don't agree that they took out their top goy, then we're involved, we're paid, we're a part of something. Fuck you guys. You guys are retards, newbies, and get everything wrong.
30-06 would have decapitated him is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is so dumb. That is ridiculous, dude. That is so dumb. Dude, the shot was from so far out, and you have no idea the conditions of the ammo or the conditions of the gun or any of the things that we're talking about right now, and you don't even know how the bullet reacted in his body. We're gonna find that out, and I guarantee you we're gonna find out is that bullet went inside and hit his collarbone and like bounced around in his rib cage or hit off his spine or something like that, and it rolled down his spine. That's how bullets behave. Everyone understands how that works. For 5.56 rounds, it works perfectly fine for 30-06 rounds at the range he was at. So grow up. We have and once a bullet like that hits skin, it's over. You have no idea. Skin is the most unpredictable thing with a bullet you could possibly imagine. We've seen shots of people getting shot in like the leg, and the bullet travels and tumbles up their leg, through their pelvis, through their rib cage, and comes like out their neck and stuff. Because the way that skin behaves completely changes the way of bullet
bones
moves through the
are
body.
hard, and ricochets happen, and all it takes is a little bit of a twist, and then it spins all the way and breaks up. And that's what they said, is the bullet was so broken up they had trouble even identifying what type of bullet it was. But here's the other thing: you think that this op is so sophisticated yet so stupid that the internet sleuths put it together that the wound didn't match the gun that they planted? Like, that's just a whole nother level of stupid.
It's so stupid. And dude, you guys, it doesn't prove anything. Like, you guys are like taking one thing and this is true, then this is true, then this is true. Like, none of these, even if we were to say like, okay, so it wasn't a 30-06. So you guys are saying like, what? It was done by an explosive. It was done by somebody else. Okay, well, where's your evidence for that? And all of it is kooky shit. You have no evidence on the other side. This whole topic is so mind-numbingly stupid. And like, anybody who's still on this, I can't wait for the court case, because you're all going to be sitting there and being like, and realizing that we're right about this. Absolutely right about this. Oh, and one other thing. I read in, I can't remember the reporting. I was just looking for it through my Twitter. I had it bookmarked, but I can't find it. One of the reportings showed that the place he got the gun from, it was his, I think his grandfather's gun, that his grandfather was shooting that gun at an indoor range, and that ammo was what I'm talking about.
Range ammo,
now,
yeah.
Yes, range ammo. Now, an indoor range. So if you're shooting a gun like that in an indoor range, you're absolutely using that type of a round. And if that's what it was, that is literally the point of that ammo is that when it hits something, that it disintegrates. So all of you guys, you guys just have no idea. Oh, big gun make loud noise. That mean big boom, big head come off. You're an idiot. You're a fucking moron. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Layla Decker says, where is your evidence that Charlie Kirk is really dead? I don't know, maybe the video of him getting blasted and blood squirting out of his neck and him going unconscious and tumbling over that they got from like 50 different angles. Maybe that?
Yeah.
What's your theory, Layla? Was that CGI? Was it did he have a blood packet that exploded? What do you think it was?
Yes, they make indoor rounds for 30-06. Absolutely. I mean, it's not a common round, but in the mountains, where they're living, there's indoor ranges, and that is where the grandfather was shooting it. That's what the report said. So it's not out of the idea that he would have that type of round. That's what I'm saying. Also, dude, it literally could have been the most crazy round ever and stored improperly. You guys don't even know shit. If an old person is storing a round like that above their like mantle place or something in a place that's not like sealed off and kept from moisture and things like that, within 10 years, that round is dog shit almost, okay? So you guys have no idea about anything about the rounds or the guns or anything like that. You guys are just pretending that you're ballistics experts, and you actually don't know shit. And what's going to happen is a real ballistics experts, probably 10 of them for both the defense and the prosecution, are going to come up on that stand and explain what happened, and you guys are going to try to tear this apart, and you're going to look like retards, because you are. That's why. You are retards if you don't understand what we're saying here.
All right, sorry to get Amalek so fired up. This is a pet issue that it's a big distraction.
I hate this issue. It's going to be like this for the rest of our lives. It's going to be the JFK of our lives. People are never going to let this go.
All right, guys, that's all for today. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, comment below, clip the show, sign up for Substack and Subscribe Star, and I will see you guys in tomorrow. Closing out with High in Hyperborea, Rastafari Jesus. Take care.
Yeshua, Babylon. Roman oppressors never knew he didn't die on the cross. He escaped to Jamaica. On 420, Yeshua smokes the herbal chalice and curses Hitler's birthday. Christ gonna get high, 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 high in Hyperborea. Yeshua gonna mash, mash, mash down Babylon. Yeshua was a Rasta. His eyes are blue and he's not a Jew. Yeshua was a Rasta. He's as blonde as the Lebanese ash he smokes. Yeshua was a Rasta. His pure iron DNA is the most potent strain the world has ever seen. Christ gonna get high, 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 high in Hyperborea. Yeshua gonna mash, mash, mash down Babylon. Yeshua was a Rasta. He smokes cross-shaped joints every day. Yeshua was a Rasta. He's not brown like hash, he's white like deity diamonds. Was a Rasta. He would smoke hookah on a donkey and teach from the Torah like a true Hyperborean or Rasta man. Christ gonna get high, 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 high in Hyperborea. Yeshua gonna mash, mash, mash down Babylon. Yeshua was a Rasta. His eyes are blue and he's not a Jew. Yeshua was a Rasta. He's as blonde as the Lebanese ash he smoke. Yeshua was a Rasta. His pure iron DNA is the most potent strain the world has ever seen. Christ gonna get high, 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 high in Hyperborea. Yeshua gonna mash, mash, mash down Babylon. Yeshua was a Rasta. High in Hyperborea was a Rasta. Down Babylon was a Rasta. High in Hyperborea was a Rasta. High in Hyperborea was a Rasta. Down Babylon